Are you a boner guy?
Oh, I was a boner guy.
You know what? I miss penis.
What are you talking about?
I'm the one who should apologize.
Is it going to be absolutely riveting? Is it going to change your life by any stretch? Probably not, but it's going to be at least entertaining, okay?
By the way, for those people that are in the back, remember to shut the fuck up.
Cuz-a-roo.
Slap-a-rooney.
It's showtime.
WATP.
WATP.
Hello, Rubber Dicks and Cuzzaroos. Welcome to another episode of Who Are These Podcasts, the only show that yells more than El Green. I'm your host, Carl. With me today, fresh from the Academy Awards where he was showing celebrities to their seats, it's Adam Bush. What's up, Adam?
I'm so happy to be here. I'm glad you're back from vacation. Please do not feel obligated to tell us about it. We don't want to know.
Yeah, I wasn't going to. Producer Chris is here as well.
Oh, hey.
Hey, what's up? Please go to whoarethese.com, get our email address, voicemail number, link to our subreddit, link to our Discord server, link to our merchandise, link to our YouTube channel, and the link to Patreon and Supercast featuring 2 exclusive bonus episodes every single month. And you can watch the shows live when they happen. We record every Wednesday and Saturday. You get the links to those, so you can check that out. Also, on whoarethese.com is our mailing address. Pony Power 2 sends us some more cool shit. Remind me before the show ends to show people what that looks like. You can always send us stuff to our mailing address. You can find that on whoarethese.com. Hackamania is coming up May 9th through the 11th. We will be in Las Vegas along with the Creep Off, This Little Piggy, The Biggest Problem in the Universe, Nobody Likes Onions, Weird Medicine, Tukey Soup. We're all going to be there doing live podcasting. Hackamania.com, promo code WATP for 10% off your ticket order. Also, big announcement. You may have heard about this. I know that Tukey talked about it. I talked about it with Drew Lane yesterday. Shuli has announced it over on the Shuli Network. That's right. Dabble House Live, April 11th through 12th. You can watch live WATP, The Uncle Rico Show, and a viewer film festival contest. All happening. Go to dabblecon.live to get the tickets for that. It is streaming only this year. We don't have to come to Rochester. We're going to all be in a house in Florida. We're going to be doing live streaming all weekend. We're going to have some very important shows, including season 2 of The Tapes. The highly anticipated Kate Meany season 2 of The Tapes. Check out dabblecon.live for more information and to get your passes. The early bird special is currently happening for those episodes. 1 pass gets you all of the live shows that we're doing. Also, we encourage our listeners, give us 5 stars wherever you review podcasts and then shit all over us in the comment section. And I also want to remind people you can support the show, and we appreciate that, through the Super Tip system. Supertip.gg/WATP is where you want to go. And yes, episode 600 was last week. Very exciting. We announced some brand new voices, including Adam Bush, Anthony Cumia, Dick Masterson, Dr. Steve, E-Rock is on there, Howard Stern, Jerry Banfield, Joe Matarese, Lisa Boswell, Rob Saul, Solar, the DID system from WATS. It's all there, including all of the great voices that we had before. So we encourage you to check that out, have some fun, participate in the show, and we'll get to those when we transition in between different segments that we're doing. And speaking of segments that we're doing, we got a lot to talk about today. I want to talk about Opie further transitioning into Stuttering John. Yes. I have some clips today. I mean, Adam's been on this beat for a little bit now, but I have some clips today that even Adam, I think, is going to be surprised by because it's just full blown at this point. Also, Stuttering John had a recent stand-up show this past weekend, and not only will we be joined by the guy who was there, but also I have the audio from it, and we'll be listening to the stand-up and seeing what's new and what is old on there and dissecting that a little bit. Armie Hammer still trying to make a comeback. And also, I just reviewed this with Drew yesterday, but I have a couple clips that we have to play on here. Armie Hammer talking about trying to go gay.
Yeah.
And how that worked out for him.
Caught some of that today.
Yeah, it's interesting. So we'll get into that. And I'm very excited. Christian Bladt will be joining us later because Frenchie Hana had that great tribute to us in the episode 600.
Yes.
And apparently it wasn't easy to get the final product of that.
So I heard.
So Christian Blatt's going to have some outtakes and different things to show us. But first, I want to talk about the Dabbler of the Week from the Critic Magazine. People have been seeing this going around. If you're part of the Dabbleverse, if you're interested in this kind of thing, Ben Sixsmith is joining us live from the UK. What's up, Ben?
Great to see you guys. Actually from Poland, where I live. But
Oh, you do live in Poland.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
you had a UK address, and so I assumed that you were there. So this time zone is even more fucked up than I thought it was.
It's a little late, but it's great to be here.
Okay, well, thank you very much for coming on. If you don't know, Ben writes for the Critic Magazine, and he recently published an article called The Irresistible Rise of the Lol Cows that very heavily features Stuttering John and talks about who are these podcasts. And so I appreciate you're obviously a longtime listener to the show, Ben.
Absolutely. Many years.
That's awesome. Thank you for coming on. Thanks for writing about that. And the article, when did that come out?
So that came out in print last week, and then it should be online in the next couple of weeks. I'm not sure when.
Awesome. Would we know about it if someone hadn't seen it and then sent it to Cardiff Electric for him to read on his show?
That's the crossover between Hurley's podcast and the Critic must be a one man, and I really appreciate that one man because he has excellent taste, I must say.
Yes, that was incredible. Someone was just thumbing through the magazine over in the UK and went, huh, what's this all about? Talking about Stuttering John.
I got to get this to Cardiff.
Yeah, I got to get this over to Cardiff. Well, you know how Canadians and the British are. They're still buds for some reason. We told them to scram years ago. But so tell me a little bit about yourself, Ben. What do you do professionally for a living? Are you just a journalist full time?
So I'm an online editor for the Critic magazine. We publish on politics and culture, mostly British politics and culture, but not exclusively. And I'm also the Critic's podcast reviewer. So I'm kind of in the same domain as you guys. And that's how I got the opportunity to write about the wonderful world of the Dabbleverse.
That's awesome. So you listen to podcasts professionally to critique them for the magazine.
Absolutely. I thank God every day.
What are some of your favorite podcasts that you've reviewed or critiqued?
So a lot of British podcasts, some insufferable politics podcasts by hideous characters that I hope, for your sake, you've never heard of. But also some American classics, some Joe Rogan, some of the comedy podcasts like the Adam Friedland Show, all across the board. Always trying to review different things and different themes. And
What
I
about,
finally came around to the lolcows.
What about My Dad Wrote a Porno? One of our favorites from the UK.
I think that was just, I try not to go for the too obvious ones,
Okay.
at the risk of sounding like an insufferable podcast snob. So rather than go for that, I went straight for Stuttering John.
I love it. Now, you start off your article talking about shock jocks, Howard Stern, Opie and Anthony, what they were doing in the late 90s and early aughts. And I have to ask, since you live in Poland, how do you know about this shit? How does this stuff get over there?
It's just endless hours of trawling through YouTube in search of entertainment, really. I mean, there's such a gold mine of old content on the internet, and to stick with the stuff that's around nowadays just seems like a pathetic waste given all the history there is to experience. So on my many trawls through the internet, I came across clips from Stern from Opie and Anthony, and then kind of dug into that universe, and what a hole there is to dig.
So is that how you discovered who are these podcasts? Just through the algorithm?
I think it was. I'd been a follower of some other beloved lolcows like Brendan Schaub through the Fighter and the Kids subreddit.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got a perverse fascination. There was a little period where people were creating documentaries about comedians. I remember there was one about Jim Norton, for example. And I was kind of fascinated that this guy would devote such immense energy and creativity to discussing this one comedian. And I think that led me to Who Are These Podcasts.
I want to read one of the paragraphs of your article that I found interesting and fun. You write, Melendez has no discernible wit, intelligence, or charm. His podcasts have the humorous qualities of an ape attempting to understand a smartphone, except unlike the poor primate, Melendez is capable of malice. Now, first I have to say, I commend you on your writing talent. It's very well written. It's entertaining. It's a short article, but it's very entertaining. And I want to talk about the capable of malice part of this. Now, you point out after this that maybe the reason why the Dabbleverse came to be and people started focusing on John was because of his reaction to the criticism. Do you think that's true?
Yeah, I mean, I think without his obnoxious qualities, he'd be a very, very tragic figure. This guy who was elevated to a stature way beyond his abilities time and time again, then found himself in the obscurity that, were it not for bizarre chances of fate, he would have always dwelled in. And it would be quite a sad story, and he would be quite a sympathetic figure were it not for his incredible capacity for meanness and arrogance.
I agree to some level, but I was just thinking about this only because I reviewed Monica Lewinsky's podcast yesterday with Drew Lane. And Monica Lewinsky is concerned about imposter syndrome. She's worried that she doesn't really belong with these other people, interviewing them or being on their show. And I agree with her. She doesn't. John never had that sense. Whenever he was on the Howard Stern show or on Jay Leno, for some reason, he has this delusion about his own talent.
He was born with something missing.
He never thinks for a second that, like, do I even belong here?
Nope.
And so even without the malice, I find that fascinating. And Adam, I think, you were a Stern fan growing up in the markets where Howard was very popular. But I think you've come to find this universe in a similar fashion.
And I'm curious, Ben, what made you write the article when you did? Because if you'd been looking for a while, I did the same thing. And at some point, I just felt I would regret not talking to John and not just stepping in the same way I would if Eric, the actor, was around and I didn't speak to him. What made you write the article now?
I think it's an article I wanted to write for some time, and I finally couldn't resist scratching that itch. It's such a fascinating world to lurk in, this kind of meta tragicomedy of failure. And I finally couldn't succumb to the temptation to test the limits of my editor's ability to understand the internet, and gave it a shot, and somehow they agreed to publish it. So
yeah, I was going to ask about that, if you had to convince them that was an interesting article for the magazine.
I think they trusted me that if I was really insisting that this rather sad ex-radio star was worth reading about, then the people would agree. And clearly at least one person did. So, I'm way ahead already.
Have you received any feedback from non-Dabbleverse people, or have you talked to anyone who's interested in it now after reading your article?
I've heard from some people who've enjoyed it, mostly from within the Dabbleverse, but I've talked to some people outside who've enjoyed it as well. I don't know if they've dipped their toes into this world, but I'm sure that some will.
Another thing I wanted to read from the article that I found very funny. It says, what is fascinating about the Dabbleverse, though, is that it is made up of very random, obscure people making fun of a random, obscure people. Stuttering John is the most famous person in the sphere, and he could walk for longer than a Proclaimers without being recognized. That would piss John off right there. That's his only thing, is he needs to be famous so badly.
Yeah, but he has to tell people.
Of course.
So it doesn't count, really.
The line between the amused and the object of amusement is also fascinatingly thin. It just takes a flaw to be illuminated, and the mocker becomes the mocked. Perhaps we all have a little locale inside of us where our ego and our insecurities lactate. And I wanted to ask you about that because you bring up Aaron Imholt in here. You bring up Patrick Michaels, Chad Zubak, Aaron Imholt. And I think that there is a feeling in a lot of these guys that, like, oh, if I make the wrong move, or if someone I don't like makes the wrong move, everyone's going to turn on them. I don't think that's the case. I think that consistently being quality and putting on a good show and knowing what you're doing doesn't allow that to happen. It doesn't matter if, like, there's like a photo that comes out of the guy in a cow bikini. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here.
How'd you come up with that? Weird.
But Ben, are you concerned about that things could flip very easily for any of these guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think what made me interested in the Dabbleverse is my interest in failure. I think I used to be a teacher. We have a line in England that those who can't teach and those who can't teach gym.
We got that one
Most
too.
Teachers are frustrated in some way. I think most journalists probably are have failed to some extent when it comes to their aspirations. There are very few people who say, I want to have a column. There are a lot of people who want to write books and win a Pulitzer Prize, and then they end up writing a column. And I always feel like the difference between your average failure and a lolcow is the lack of self-awareness. So all of us need to kind of take control of our sense of self, because it's when the sense of self diverges to a dramatic degree from one's actual conditions that one becomes quite so entertaining. I mean, Opie, for example, who I think you're going to discuss later, I remember a time when he was he'd almost become a beloved figure. People were creating these extensive meta-narratives about how actually he was the genius behind Opie and Anthony, but he couldn't just enjoy the moment and then, slink back to the Hamptons and enjoy his millions. He had to cling to this delusion that he was going to be the next Joe Rogan all over again. And that lack of self-awareness is really the big warning that lies at the heart of the Dabbleverse.
I have a personal thought on that. When the O&A subreddit turned on Jim and then turned on Anthony and then embraced Opie, I think all of that was tongue-in-cheek. I think they hated all those guys, but they're like, hey, let's build up Opie and see what happens. And to a large degree, Opie fell for it, which was amusing if you were paying attention back in those times. Adam, you looked like you had something you wanted to get in with.
I'm curious, do you think people looking at the Dabbleverse now, or who read your article and then watched these shows of people critiquing John and Opie, would instinctually feel bad for John and Opie in the way that sometimes somebody will, look over my shoulder and be like, why are you picking on this clearly slow, drunk person who can't defend himself correctly? Or do you think that malice will read and people will understand what's happening?
I think it depends on how much you consume. I think if you dug into a random episode, you would be like, why is this tragic alcoholic being laughed at when he's so clearly in the mud of existence? But then once you absorb all of his many varied and colorful negative qualities, I think the perception would flip to some extent, not least because you realize just how desperately he wouldn't want to be seen as an object of pity to begin with. Mm-hmm. I think that would almost be much worse for someone like John or Opie than being considered a figure of scorn, because if they're a figure of pity, then that just emphasizes how radically deluded they are about their place in the world.
And can you just dispel some rumors really fast? Is there a way that you can prove to us that you're not Clay Dabbler?
I have my bandana's in the other room, and I think
Clay is in the chat defending John, so it's possible that Ben is a different British guy.
I haven't heard any sirens, so I'm assuming it's not.
No, there's only 5 of us, and we all know the king, but I haven't bumped into Clay yet, so I'm not sure.
It does sound like you have a lot to say about Howard Stern in this article too, which I appreciated, talking about how he's agoraphobic and was a guy who was mocking everyone for a while, was on top and calling everyone out. And now who even knows who his audience is? It seems like The View and the Howard Stern show have a huge crossover, huge cross section of people. And so now it's turned into Howard is more mocked than he is revered. Do you think that's true?
Yeah, I mean, the only things really that separate Howard from John are millions of dollars and the fact that Howard doesn't really like Coors Lights. I mean, he's pretty much, qualitatively, he's at the same level. I mean, I'd rather listen to Stuttering John any day than Howard Stern, because at least there's some kind of comedy value.
I got to agree with you on that.
Whereas,
Wow, we've come a long way.
Well, I agree with you only because of my job. I have the hardest time clipping Howard Stern's show. I could go for 45 minutes and just be like zoning out, like, what just happened? Oh, shit. I just lost 45 minutes of time trying to figure out what I'm listening to. Whereas John, I it's too much. I get
Listening to
overwhelmed.
Howard, it's always like, I imagine it's like waiting in the doctor's office and being stuck next to the most boring patient who's in there every week, annoying the
Who's
doctor.
holding court, right? Like he owns the place.
And just holding forth about his life when you're desperately looking for an exit, and there's this random African-American lady sitting next to him shrieking with laughter for no particular reason. It's completely insufferable. Whereas at least when someone's screaming at me about Pocky and whatever else John's nicknames are, there's a kind of endearing, farcical quality to it that Howard lacks.
Yeah, Howard doesn't yell about the shitware nearly enough these days. That is a good point. Adam, what else did you have for Ben? Anything?
Well, I'm just curious where you think this is all headed and what the end game is for this. Because every time it feels like it's about to fall off a cliff, this cliff just never comes, and it keeps getting higher and higher. And even someone like you, who's done something that's very, very difficult, and only a few people in this whole world have ever accomplished, people talk often about how hard it is to describe this world to somebody new. And you've done it in such a fabulous way that's very easy to understand using lolcows as an in. I feel like there's no end to this lolcow universe, but I'm curious what you think the Dabbleverse has in store.
Yeah, I mean, I like to believe that there's going to be some kind of funny ending. Like, as much as it's easy to dislike John, like there's a very horrible and tragic endings that he very well could come to, which won't be funny at all, given his lifestyle. So I'd like to believe that he can somehow, fall off a cliff and land in a pile of feathers rather than fall off a cliff and land.
Yeah, I think it's going to end with this soundtrack. But I hope that's true.
But I mean, the thing about lolcows is it's not just a product of the internet. It's where human nature collides with the internet in this massive pile up of egotism and delusion. So there's always going to be new ones popping up, trying to impose themselves upon the world. And that's just going to be a never-ending cycle until we end or the internet does. But the particular characters that you've been studying and I've been following through you, I mean, I wish them all the best, because they've given a lot of comedy value to the world, even if they never meant to give the particular value that they did. So I'd like to believe it's a Benny Hillish farcical ending rather than the more morbid and depressing endings that they are amply tempting the universe to give them.
Right.
I think we combine both. I think he hits the ground and then that music starts and we all have a good time.
Ben, people can find you on your website, Ben Sixsmith, spelled just how it sounds, bensixsmith.com. And is this what you write for The Critic, or is this separate from that?
This is separate from that. This is my Substack. That's where I just write my own stuff. And then the Critic website is thecritic.co.uk. So my article on John should be up. And, who knows? Maybe we'll cover the Dabbleverse again. Turn it into a running feature.
I love it. So anything else that we want to promote for you?
On Twitter at BD6Smith, and writing for anywhere that will accept my furious submissions. Well,
you're a talented writer, and I encourage everyone. We'll definitely post it once it goes online, the article, and I encourage everyone to check it out. It's fun. You mentioned Opie, and you're a fan of the show. You're familiar with Opie. Do you want to hang out for a segment with us?
Yeah, I'd love to.
All right, let's talk a little Opie real quick.
Ba, 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 ba.
So we've been chronicling the fact that Anthony got a job at WABC. And Anthony got a job. He's been talking about it a lot. The reason why he got the job, it's get his foot in the door. This is a pretty big station, as I mentioned, the highest rated AM station in New York City. So it's the biggest market. Highest rated, it's AM, but it's the highest rated AM station. But they own 388 other stations throughout the country. So there's opportunities for syndication. And a lot of the guys who are on that station are syndicated. And he could get his name and his message out there to a lot more people. But there does seem to be, and I think Anthony might have even admitted this, there does seem to be a little element of, wouldn't it be funny to watch how Opie reacts to me getting a job back on the radio again? Because Opie's been talking about getting a job on the radio for quite some time. We've been documenting that. And so the way that Opie's been responding to this news has been hysterical. It's been nothing short of hilarious and endlessly entertaining. And it's because of Opie's show format. He has nothing. Although we will pull some clips. He did do a show today reacting to Trump's speech last night. So there's something. I'll give Opie some credit. He watched a thing and then responded to it. So that's cool. But normally he's just reading the chat and then whatever, freaking out, making voices. We're going to hear a lot of that today. And so once again, we see that Opie has to react to someone asking him about Anthony's new job. And you'll never believe his reaction to this.
Hey, Anthony talking about you again. You know what? I don't care. I don't care. He can talk all he wants about me. I don't care. As Kevin Meaney would say, I don't care. I don't care.
It's not the song. My jokes don't go over. I don't care. It's the line that you're looking for there.
And it shows you that he doesn't get the Kevin Meaney joke. The joke is, if he really didn't care, he wouldn't be singing about it louder and louder and louder. So typically when we break into song, it's because we give a shit, Opie.
This is bombing on national television. He was quite distraught about it and turned it into a thing that we're still talking about today. But yeah, Opie doesn't understand any of this. And the fact that he keeps bringing up these comments and then responding to them over and over again proves that he cares. So this is immediately after saying that he doesn't care.
I mean, people are talking, though. People are people out there talking. They're like, wait a minute. Why are we getting details of Anthony's gig at WABC, making his huge return to AM radio after 11 years? A huge return to radio on AM radio. And he said he would have the details, right? And most of the main publications are kind of not even going with the story. That's weird, considering Opie and Anthony were in the papers every other day.
So it appears he does have some more thoughts on this.
The sound of a man unconcerned.
I kind of imagine that at breakfast his wife will say, Opie, can you pass the butter? And he'll go, well, actually, I don't care about Anthony. I'm not interested.
Why do you keep bringing up Anthony? No, I just want to know if the toast was ready. It's not what I was asking at all. It's on his mind nonstop. And so immediately, without anyone asking him about this, he goes, you know what? Honestly, I haven't even seen it in the newspaper. Are you looking for it in the newspaper? Is he going through all the newspapers and looking for the article about Anthony getting the job? And it's not lost on me, the fact that in 2025, Opie's talking about how, I can't believe newspapers aren't covering a guy getting an AM radio job. What? The world has changed quite a bit, so I don't know that would be a thing. Anyway.
Is he looking for a job in the newspaper?
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe he's going to the help wanted section.
They never want to admit that they're reading about this topic. So what they run out of ways to say, somebody sent me, a friend was telling me about, all of these really good friends of yours that know you don't want to know about this stuff, that can't stop emailing you and texting you and telling you everything that your enemies are doing.
Yeah, not to mention, if you don't respond to that, they'll stop sending it to you.
Yep.
So
you talk about it on your show, they'll keep doing it.
Yes. It's obvious that they're engaged. Well, then Opie comes out with this conspiracy theory that's pretty wild.
But people are talking. They're like, yo, man, Anthony's not giving much details about his new gig. What's going on? Does he even have a gig? That's what I'm starting to hear. Does he even have a gig?
That's what he's starting to hear. So now this is all a made-up thing. Anthony has not even been hired by WABC. He was just on their morning show talking about how he got hired by them with the morning jock as an elaborate ruse to fuck with Opie.
And that picture he took with the executives and all the other co-hosts in the lobby of the building was just to fuck with Opie.
But also, Opie's one of these guys who, if he hears people talking about things that he wants to believe are true, he can't wait to report on it. I know some people are saying maybe he doesn't even have a job at WABC. Yeah, but they're stupid, and you know that you shouldn't repeat that, right? I don't know. That's what just people are saying. So I'm just going along with that.
Who
Maybe
does
they
Opie
think
talk
it's what
to?
you want to hear.
Correct. Opie talks to his family.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So this is.
We can't prove that. We don't know that for sure.
Doggy.
We don't even know if his family lives with him anymore, but I don't care either way.
We don't know that they're alive. We just know
We don't. We have no idea.
I just love
someone
that he
needed his
says-
debit card.
That's what I'm starting to hear.
That's
like
what I'm starting to hear.
murmurings
Yeah,
from
yeah,
everybody.
yeah.
Yeah. Who have you spoken with?
And by the way, guys, I'm getting some notions about 9/11 being an inside job, but more on that later. First, Anthony does not have a job at WABC. And then right after that, Opie, and he can't help himself. He's getting more and more obnoxious, more and more animated. I do think, and Ben, you might want to look into this maybe for a future article, the people who podcast by themselves, staring at themselves, looking back at themselves, talking to themselves, lose their fucking minds over time.
Yeah. He probably thinks his ring light is a co-host.
It's like Tom Hanks in that movie where he's got the volleyball.
Yeah, right.
He's naming his ring light Wilson. It doesn't turn on one day. So it's only friend.
I bet he listened to Bill Burr's podcast and he was like, "Yeah, I can do that."
He
It's like,
does.
it's like if I watched World's Strongest Man and I was like, "Yeah, I reckon I could lift that as well." I'd be a natural.
These delusional guys. We were talking about it again yesterday, where Stuttering John thought he could outrun an NFL tight end. He challenged him to a race, and he got destroyed. But guys like John just see things on TV like, oh yeah, I could be a tight end.
Yeah,
in the
last
NFL.
week, John thought he could host and movie critic to talk about the Oscars without having seen any of the films. Didn't feel the need to. Felt like he could do it. Feels like he could star in a movie. Opie still thinks he's doing radio, and he keeps doing these little ticks of like, old radio shows, like 2 for Tuesday. Here we go, and then back to yelling about his gripes. None of them have any talent we can speak of.
F you Friday, Adam. Tell me what you want to F off.
Yeah, it's these weird ticks where if they say something that's a song, they have to sing the line from the song and go back to it. They think that's entertainment. It's not.
Yeah, it's called Ray DeVitoism. It's not good. Get checked by a doctor or professional. Here's a perfect example of just that.
So keep keep on talking.
You are the least funny person I've ever met. You are not funny.
Okay.
You're obnoxious. You're not funny.
Howard has spoken about that. I just can't help but see the parallels of these two retards trying to be entertaining.
John does that kind of stuff, and I'm always like, oh, he's drunk. He just likes the way it sounds, so he keeps saying it over and over again. This guy is sober at like 7 o'clock in the morning doing that.
Yeah, trying desperately to be entertaining. Well, we find out some information. Opie had a meeting recently he wants to talk about.
I had a meeting with somebody. Can't really mention their name, but they worked for Anthony, and he just met with me. A cool guy, very very cool guy. If I talk about him, you probably will figure it out. And he was like, we were having I was having a beer at Gephardt's, and he was like, I think he was having like a soda. This will probably give it away. And we were talking about some stuff. He wanted to kind of help me out a little bit, which I appreciated.
Okay. So a lot of speculation on who this person could be. Opie just had a meeting with a guy, and he's getting some information, some intel. And I saw in the comment section on this video, people were saying, is it Danny Ross from the show, or who could this be? I reached out to my buddy E-Rock, who's in the chat. Hi, Eric, former producer of the Opie and Anthony show. I said, who do you think Opie's talking about? And after he watched the clip, he said, oh, I know who this is. Now, Eric doesn't want to say because Eric's friends with this guy, but apparently this meeting happened years ago. And it was a guy who, like a lot of people, Tim Sabian was one of them, went to Opie and said, Opie, what if we got you a studio, got you set up with professional equipment, started up a show, did it the right way? I mean, you're Opie from Opie and Anthony. We could do something with this. And there's a lot of people out there who think that way. This guy's wasting his time right now. He's doing a show from Gebhardt's. I guess this was back when he was, doing the show from Gebhardt's pretty regularly. And so the guy met him there for lunch and was trying to talk him into this thing. It's crazy to me that Anthony just had all these meetings with these executives and then got a job at WABC. And Opie wants to be relevant so bad. He's like, oh, I had a meeting with a guy.
Once.
Yeah.
It says so much about his professional status that his idea of a meeting is having a beer in Gephardt's.
Yeah.
I mean, what an excuse that is for your wife. I'm just going out for a meeting.
Well, so the reason why he brought it up was because of what he's about to say here.
And then in the middle of lunch, I'm like, "What are you doing?" And he goes, "Oh, I'm sending out some troll tweets." And I'm like, and then he shows me. He's like, "Oh yeah, I got all these accounts. Here's my regular one that I tweet you or talk to you with, and then here's all my other ones that I'm trolling this person. I don't want to mention names. I'm trolling this person with this account, and then over here, this account I'm trolling." It's very, very easy. And then with the YouTube, same thing, because Google allows you to just make multiple accounts. It's crazy, absolutely crazy.
So what Opie is insinuating here, correct me if I'm wrong, is that a lot of these people who are in his chat and goofing on him are people we all know who have created these sock accounts to go after him. Now, he's accused Anthony of this many times. We all know that Opie has had a Reddit sock account that he denies. A lot of these guys who say, but by the way, everyone here is like these friends of mine or my enemies or pretend to be someone else. Those are always the people with sock accounts who are doing just that. But he's trying to say that he's sitting down in a meeting with this guy, and the guy during lunch is going, "Oh yeah, hold on a second. I just got a motherfuck this dude real quick. Hold on, I'm just logging into the right account."
Which is how much Mr. X cares about Opie's career.
You're right. Yeah. Opie, yeah. Whatever.
As soon as I'm done with Wordle, we'll get back to.
In fairness, I kind of sympathize with his suspicion that no one could possibly be watching if they didn't know him personally.
Yeah, I think that Opie has to tell himself that I can't have and you hear Tom Meyer say this. You hear a lot of these guys, obviously John, where they go, "Yeah, it looks like there's all these detractors, but it's like 3 people just create all these sock accounts and it's the same guys over and over again doing this shit."
And we could tell both of them that it wouldn't even be an issue if there were lots of fans of yours that were blocking those people out. Then no matter how many troll accounts someone had, you would have fans that blotted them out. Like, it's really not a good look.
Right. And, well, okay, I have a lot to talk about with that. Let me skip ahead to this morning's episode. Because you heard Opie say there's no information going out there about what Anthony's doing for WABC. What even is this thing? Is he even hired for that? And Anthony came out and talked about it. I knew what it was. But somebody finally gives Opie a heads up, and this is his reaction to that.
Oh my God. And then Trump's just babbling away. Anthony's time slot at ABC is 8 to 10 p.m. on Sunday. What? Whatever. Good for him. Good for you. You make your big comeback to AM radio and you're a part-timer on the weekend. That's impressive. You're right. I'm jealous.
If there's one thing Opie hates, is babbling.
Right, yes, God forbid. So that reaction right there, and people are feeding Opie a lot of bullshit and he believes it all, that is accurate. Anthony's come out and said he's got the 8 to 10 slot. I guess the guy who was there is running for mayor, so he's filling in for that. And Anthony has laid it out there. It's his foot in the door. He wants to do afternoon. He's hoping to get a 2-hour afternoon slot on the station Monday through Friday or Monday through Thursday or something. And he has no problem doing that show and then doing his show that he's still doing on Compound Censored, 4:30 to 6. So that's kind of what his goal is. And this is where he starts. And so Opie right there shows when I'm not jealous of someone, I'll never be like, "Oh, I'm real jealous of that. Oh, okay. Wow. Good for you, asshole." That tells me a lot right there. But let me get into, and then I'm going to backtrack, but I want to get into Opie's transition into Stuttering John. I think that it is complete when we watch this clip again from this morning's Opie radio stream.
Mavericks. Nico! Hey, Nico! How's that trade working out for you down there in Dallas? And I love the fine people in Dallas. They deserve a very, very good basketball team. Nico, what happened? What happened, Nico? What happened?
Is he doing this on purpose, Adam? What the fuck?
He is. This is crazy.
What is going on? Opie is just like, Carl, please cover me for an hour every episode, please. Like, all right.
I heard this is what the kids are saying.
Yeah, he doesn't come up with anything new ever, so he must be watching John. There's no way he just watched that Fred Willard movie and happens to be quoting it.
Yeah. And John doesn't come up with anything either. It's amazing.
So I would think right there, Wahapa, you're like, okay, this is obviously a guy who's turned into Stuttering John without the drinking problem. But he takes it to the next fucking level. This is crazy.
Think you would have to say it at that point, right? Opie versus Anthony in a celebrity boxing match on Netflix. The only way to settle this drama. No offense to Anthony, but he's always been a wimp.
Wow.
Oh, no. Is Opie going to explain that he can beat up Anthony? Are we turning into another boxing match to settle everyone's hash once and for all?
Oh, wimp.
I couldn't believe when I heard that. I'm like, that's another way of how he's turning into Stuttering John. I clipped that for the intro. I think I forgot to send it to you, so sorry about that.
Hilarious.
That is a guarantee. Me and him in a celebrity boxing match. Get out of here. I've worked out my entire life.
Show your muscles.
I've boxed. I've taken MMA classes. And what has Anthony done? He's worked on his is this forearms or biceps when he just drink beer after beer after beer. So I would stay away from his right side because he probably has one Popeye arm from lifting all those Bud Lights all those years.
Sounds like a guy who doesn't care at all about this. Holy shit. All the guy said was a ridiculous thing. You should do a celebrity boxing match on Netflix.
I think there's a much more fundamental definitional problem with Opie being in a celebrity boxing match.
I see where you're going with that.
Dude never worked out in his life. Knock it off with that crap. Those comments make me laugh. It wouldn't even be close. I used to work down the same gym as Jim Norton, right?
Okay, so this is brilliant. So you just heard Anthony's not talking about beating up Opie, and all of a sudden just a commenter says you guys should box. He's like, I'd beat the shit out of him. I work out. I'm tough. And then transitions into making fun of Jim Norton, who I will once again remind everyone doesn't say shit about Opie, hasn't brought him up in years. And Opie, who says, leave me alone. Just leave me alone. Can't stop talking about Jimmy.
I would see him on machines, and I would just openly laugh how insanely wimpy he was too. And he had a trainer. He was the one-plate kid. Clang, 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 clang. He was that guy. Look up the Brian Regan bid. Yes, I know I'm taking for Brian Regan today.
Okay. So there's my evidence that he's fully transitioned.
The fake
Congratulations,
laughing,
Opie.
the pushing with the laughing when they don't find it funny at all is really disturbing. And they both have no skill or talent. You know, Anthony wasn't working his drinking. He was working on his words and his delivery. He was broadcasting and always trying to be funnier and a better broadcaster. You guys would I mean, it's weird because we know that John doesn't know that he's not smart, but he also would never get in a debate with anybody. He would never sit down and just actually have a battle of words or of comedy. So they resort to physical violence and crazy threats. And even when you listen back to Opie and Anthony and some of John's stuff, they were around brilliantly funny people. They were not funny, but they were impulsive. So every once in a while, the comics would bring things to a head, and then Opie would do the impulsive thing. the hanging up or the thing no one should say, and everyone would laugh. Now all the comics are gone. It's just Opie doing the impulsive thing with none of the comedy or meaning or motivation behind it. And John's the same way.
I think there was an interesting tell in there as well, where Opie couldn't handle the idea that a beginner would have a trainer. I mean, that says a lot about his attitude towards improving your abilities. That when you might be bad at something, you might need some help and assistance, and you slowly get better. Whereas his attitude is, no, I'm just brilliant. Nobody could possibly help me. I've arrived at the top.
I've followed Jim Norton for a very long time. I've never heard the dude brag about being tough or working out, or I don't think that he would tell you in a second that he's like a gym rat or he like knows how to work all the equipment real well. It's a dumb angle to take for Opie to just be like, he was at my gym and I saw him do a thing because he talked before about hitting the heavy bag. He's like, he can't even punch that hard. It's like, I don't think Jim's training to fight Logan Paul, so he should be fine. It's all good. But yeah, you're right. Without Reese Witherspoon doing a call-in and Opie being able to hang up on her for the impact that would have, he's got nothing. He just sits here making noises and talking,
stomping on cakes.
He's virtually stomping on cakes now. All right, let's hear his SNL take, because people are talking about how Saturday Night Live, it's in the news, the 50th recently, and Shane Gillis hosting and all this stuff. So people are talking about SNL. And Opie has this claim about how they lean politically.
For the people that think they lean insanely left, it's just BS. They wouldn't have, edgy comics like Shane Gillis or Bill Burr hosting if they were leaning insanely left.
Okay. I just have a quick thought on this because that's a terrible take. SNL leans so fucking left that Shane Gillis was fired before he ever got to do a skit on the show, and he's proven in the 2 times he's hosted that he'd be the best cast member on that show. But the woke mafia got him fired. Bill Burr is as Hollywood as Kevin Hart. Bill Burr works for Disney and Star Wars shows. So to say that Bill Burr's an edgy guy, can you believe SNL has him on? They must not be leaning left. You're like, what? There wasn't a single sketch about Hunter Biden. The 4 years Joe Biden is president, his son is smoking crack and jerking off on hookers and uploading it to YouPorn, and then it comes out, and there's no sketches around that? Couldn't come up with one funny angle for that sort of thing? So I'm just saying I don't agree with his political take on that. All right, this is talking about, the truth comes out every now and again from the Opster, because when he talks politics, it's polarizing for him.
I'll get 10 of you. I'll get 10 of you to join me, and then I'll say what I'm about to say, and then 12 of you will leave. It's exhausting to try to build an audience.
Yeah, especially when you're doing it wrong. It's exhausting trying to build an audience. We can tell. I'm tired watching you try to do it.
When you don't have anything to say and you criticize people that have strong opinions. Anthony has strong opinions, so he's going to turn off a lot of people and turn on a lot of others. You have none, so there's no audience for you. You can't chase what people like, then you don't exist. Just do what you would want to see. I don't think you would watch this, Opie.
No, that's a great point. I wonder if he goes back, because he does edit this stuff for his audio podcast. There's no way he's doing that.
I don't think so.
Because he would listen back and be like, this is a stinker. Well, then another parallel to StutJo. So JFK Headchunk, who I saw in our chat today, he's in the chat this morning, and Opie threatens him with a ban because apparently he's spreading misinformation that Opie is a liberal.
All right, JFK, you're very close to being banned, JFK. Very close. See, there's more BS going on out there that I guess supposedly I'm a lib, which is the dumbest, stupidest thing I've ever heard about me.
So this morning he comes on to talk about Trump's speech last night and proves that he is not a liberal. He's going to say something that's so shocking. No one's going to believe that Opie would have this take.
But it on bum 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 bum. All right, let's break down the State of the Union. What do you got? What do you got on this? You might be surprised, man, because I take my shots at the Trumpster. but I've also taken my shots at the Biden. I've taken my shots at the Kamala Harris. I've taken my shots at the Elon Musk. You know, I don't put the blinders on and just follow one ideology. Look, when your guy goes bad, you don't you sit there and make believe your guy didn't go bad. Does that make sense?
What? Brilliant commentary. I love it when he gets into politics. Can't believe WABC isn't knocking down his door to do a morning show on there. So Opie just said, my mind is blown, so give me a second to recoup here. Opie just said, there's bad politicians on both sides. Have you ever heard that on Opie before? Smoking hot take.
It's divisive.
It's crazy. Who could possibly think something like that? So now he's going to give his honest take on Trump's performance last night.
And what you get here is hopefully a bit of a more honest take. And my honest take today is that Trump owned the Dems. Trump owned the Dems last night, and he did something.
By the way, I hate this thing he's been doing a lot lately. He thinks he's doing a 3D thing. He's constantly shoving his hand into the camera.
He did something that I've been talking about for more years than I could count. I've been talking about the State of the Union forever. One of my things that I've said a million times is that it frustrates the hell out of me. No matter who the president is, they get up there, they're talking about America. Half the room applauds and stands up. The other half sits there dead and just sit on their hands and do nothing. And that happened again last night. And I said it for years. I said one of these presidents should fucking call out the other side for not clapping or standing for anything. And Trump did that last night. And with that move, he owned the Dems.
So according to Opie, what Trump did really well last night was a thing that Opie thought he should do.
I can believe that he said it a million times.
He should be an advisor to the president or something. That's incredible. Brilliant take from the Opster right there.
And what's amazing about his take on the State of the Union, because he goes on to say some more real hot takes, none of them involve politics, policy, the economy, or anything that people would be interested in. They all involve, aesthetic and like social stuff, the high school dance stuff that people would pick on, like what you're wearing. He thinks, and I know a lot of Democrats and liberals probably wanted to just, forget about Trump. It was a mistake. We'll move on. Well, now he's back and they're forced to reconcile with this reality, and they're trying to find things they can sound balanced about. And this, he really believes, look at that, I'm pointing my finger, is an attempt at that. Take that, in-laws. Take that. I'm doing this right now. And he really thinks like the pendulum's going to shift and all the Trump fans are running over to his chat right now to get this support that he's offering them. They're not. You just sound weak and uninformed.
Yeah, his take is very similar to high school students. Like, did you watch the speech last night? What did you think? Oh, well, they shut down Al Green and they got him out of there. It's like, yeah, no, I know. But like, what about what Trump said about what he's going to do in the next 4 years or what he's already accomplished or the state of his strategy for the country and everything that's going on with Ukraine? Opie has none of those takes. He has no idea what's going on with any of that.
He's the fashion reporter at the Oscars who's not qualified
Right.
to ask about the movies and can only say, what are you wearing? You look great.
This is just an interesting thing that happened on the show this morning. Tells me a lot about where Opie's at and Opie's been doing this throughout his career. He'll tell you things are going great and they've never been better. And then you find out later on that things weren't great and have been better. And this happened again just recently where Opie's been saying that his numbers are up and things are going great. And then he goes, it's never been better than when Carl Ruiz was on the show. The things are not as good as they were then. You're like, oh, that's not what you've been telling us all this time. And this is an interesting thing that happens when Paul gives him $1.99.
We're going to applaud or stand up. Oh my. Paul with the $1.99 super sticker. Paul, take some coffee right in your face. Thank you, Paul. This Paul gives me $1.99 every day. What do you guys do? You barely hit the likes. You barely download an episode of the Opie Radio podcast. Audio version of this will be available very, very soon. Actually, if you're listening to this right now on one of the podcast apps, you're like, well, that doesn't make sense, Opie. You said available soon, but I'm listening now. Figure it.
This is interesting because I thought, and Opie's always told us, the audio version of the podcast is where people listen to him. Because we all see his numbers on YouTube and they're not great. And so he goes, yeah, I do an audio show. That's what people listen to. And now he's yelling at the people for not downloading his audio show. Meanwhile, he's talking to, it's up to 264 views. It's 11 hours ago. So at the time, it had to be a few dozen. This is not a lot of people. So if he's seeing these numbers and going, why aren't you guys downloading the audio? That tells me that his numbers are atrocious. The guy gives him $1.99 and he goes, why isn't everyone doing this kind of thing? Like, oh no, it's worse than I thought it was.
$1.99. Can you imagine him in the top floor of that building, like blocking the elevator, other people, because he's got to bend down and pick up $1.25 in quarters while living there. It's hard to put all that together.
It really is, especially his reaction to that.
Yeah.
Where he's like angry at people who didn't give him money.
Where are you guys?
Where were you?
The doorman must look at him like, you live here?
All right. Well, Ben, I want to thank you again for coming out. It was great to meet you, buddy.
Thank you very much for having me.
Ben6smith.com is where you want to go to find more things that Ben is talking about in the Critic magazine.
And scene.
All right. Thanks, buddy. And he's out. He took himself out just like that. Very well done. I want to, we're going to do Cringe of the Week in just a minute. And then I have Stuttering John's stand-up set. Yes. Dave is here. He's going to be joining us in a minute. He's the one who recorded this for us. It's just audio. I can't wait to play what he did on Saturday night at the Boca Black Box. But first, I want to thank you fine people for supporting the show on supertip.gg/WATP, including Coach Mikey.
Congrats on 600 episodes. Been watching since the Cinema Sacred episode.
The last time I saw 600 was that summer. I was interning as Vinny's scale.
Boogers. Very well done. Thank you for that. We appreciate you. Cinemassacre podcast. Michael P is here. I'll still buy Dabble House, but I'm not against traveling to Rochester. R.I.P. Tara and Dawn. Go Bills. Go Bills, Michael. Kelly Clarkson is beautiful. Go Cubs. Go FYI. I truly love Kelly Clarkson. KCWO. Is that Casey Armstrong World Order that we're talking about here?
Casey Day?
Go
It must be
Cubs,
Armstrong.
go.
It must be Armstrong.
Right.
Stewie Felt says, was that Ben's 10's British cousin? What am I missing here? I guess I don't know who Ben 10 is. Missed all of you espresso martinis. Cheers. We missed you too. Thank you for being here. We took a week off. We're back. Coach Bickle became a YouTube member. Thank you very much for doing that. Of course, if you become a member, you get 2 bonus shows every single month, and you also get to watch every show we do live. We send out the link, and it's also on the membership tab or the community tab when you're on our YouTube channel. To quote the critic, it stinks.
It stinks. It stinks.
Opie Imholt, I fight Aunt Jimmy Sam and 2 more. That was crazy when he started talking about how he could fight these people. That's a new one. Laziest man on Mars, Opie, your bologna tea eats are legendary. I get it. Your bologna tits are legendary. Noel Harding, British Adam Bush is terrific. Yeah, he was. He was great. Very insightful. Rocco Orb, 2002, $5 says, hey, Opie, poking fun at people working out in a gym and minding their own business is a dick move. Yes. Agreed. And look at this. The man who came in on episode 600 with his own super tip voice. We have Dr. Steve with 10 gifted memberships. thank you, Dr. Steve, for gifting memberships. People accept gifted memberships, and you could be checking out all the bonus shows that we do. They're all listed there, the old shows that we've done. We had a fantastic couple in February where we went down memory lane with Patrick Michael.
I know.
That was a lot of fun. We also talked about who's that asshole? Tom Myers, who's been doing this
Beaker
new morning show. It's
someone
crazy.
in the chat said he looks like Beaker from the Muppets.
Someone emailed me and pointed out that the way he communicates and talks on his show in the morning is so different than his persona. He's such a dweeb. And then when he's doing his show, he's got the inflection and he's doing all the stuff and he's pretending he's a comic and he's terrible at podcasting, and I hope he never gets better. He was celebrating the end of Cumtown, a show that ended years ago. And then I was almost going to pull clips. We have too much to talk about today, but he was debating who were the best comics from Cumtown. And of course he didn't like any of them. Even though like Stabby's gone on to have a Netflix special and Nick Mullen and whatever, they're all way better comics than him. But he's just like, well, I guess if you want someone who's high energy, Stavros is pretty good. It's like, no, it's funny jokes. It's not high energy.
Right.
Such a fucking idiot. Anyway, I didn't pull the clip, but you now know what I would have said if I had pulled the clip.
We can use our imagination.
Bloody ass. Can I get a little sympathy? Because I got a bloody ass. I'm bleeding generously. Because I got a bloody ass.
I want to introduce everyone to Boca Dave joining the show. What's up, Dave? Uh-oh. I don't hear any audio coming from you.
How about now?
There it is. Nailed it.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks for coming on, buddy, and thanks for going to see John's stand-up show. Did you have a good time?
Yeah, great time. It was my little birthday present to myself last week.
I got to tell you, I haven't listened to the entire stand-up show yet, but I've listened to a lot of it, and it was a very generous room. People were having fun at John's show.
Absolutely.
People were hooting and hollering and laughing. How many people were in the room for this?
It was a smaller room, so I would say maybe like 30 to 40 people.
But it was sold out, it looked like?
Yeah, I waited and I ended up getting tickets the day of, and because I was worried it might cancel. so I was like, if I'm going to pay this money, I'm going to make sure he's there. But
you were able to get tickets the day of, though. That's good.
Exactly.
I'm glad to hear that. So you go to the show. John's the headliner. And you messaged me and said that the opening acts, some of them were terrible. How many openers were there for John?
There were 3 women and 1 man, and they were just
so one
bombing.
Opening act. Oh.
Yeah, one of them I
was a
told you
struggle.
was yeah, they were just bombing nonstop, and you could tell like the audience wasn't giving them much, and they kept acknowledging the bombing. The only one that was half decent was the last girl I told you. She was Jackie Mason's daughter.
Wow.
So she at least had some kind of comedic chops, but everybody else was just bomb after bomb.
You would think she'd be top billing just for being Jackie Mason's daughter over Stuttering John, but what do I know?
She's
I
no
heard
Kate
John
Mead.
is in love with her and really trying to become a father figure to her.
Right, exactly.
I didn't know your father, but he knew me. No. So, Dave, I want to get your take on these things. I'm going to start playing some clips of this show. And interested to hear your thoughts on it, because obviously you witnessed this in real time. By the way, props on the recording. This sounds great.
Yeah, it was funny because we got there about 5-10 minutes before the show started, and I came in through the front door by accident, not realizing he was in a smaller room. And as we go in, who's right in front of me? Stuttering John stumbles out the front door with double fist and 2 drinks. He's ready to go. I'm like, and I was with my friend who doesn't follow Dabbleverse, but he knows the Howard Stern show from back in the day. And I was like, dude, you see who that was? He's like, who? I was like, that old guy with the 2 beers. That's Stuttering John. He's like, no way. So
he's unrecognizable, right? Like if you knew the E show, there's no way you're recognizing John.
Exactly. Yeah. If I wasn't watching the show, I wouldn't know who he was.
How tall is John, do you think, in your estimation?
I would say 5'6" tops.
Okay. You did take a photo with him. I didn't put that in my package here to show. How tall are you?
I'm about 5'8" to 5'9".
Okay. All right. Yeah, that
He's a
story
couple
checks
inches
out.
shorter.
What was the odor like? Was it pungent or?
Good question.
The thing is, when I took the picture, I didn't realize that the whole time I was watching the show, his underarms were sweating heavily. So when he took the picture with me, I didn't realize he was sweaty underarm was right on top of my shoulder.
That just literally gave me the
Burned that shirt when I got home.
Didn't charge you extra for that, or is that just free?
All right.
I'm very curious about everything you observed before we get into the stand-up. Anything you observed about him walking around, or I would love to know, because I think you could learn a lot about any performer by what they're doing before and after the show.
Yeah, he definitely kept coming in and out, especially while the openers were performing. He kept coming in and kind of standing on the side, so people kept looking over. And yeah, he definitely was started drinking before I got there. And as soon as we go into the right area, they had a security guard dressed up like SWAT, and he was just kept reminding people, don't record, put your phones away, make sure you're not recording.
Oh,
he's reminding people himself. He's standing there reminding.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like John told them in advance.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that actually leads into this, and Adam, please feel free to ask questions throughout this. But this leads into, obviously, John gave a lot of instructions to people because the host of the show brings John on, and you don't hear this very often.
For the big headliner, all right, you know and loved him on the Howard Stern Show and the Tonight Show with Jay Leno, 2 shows which he also wrote for. Please put your hands together for Stuttering John Melendez.
You don't think that came up in her research?
Did anyone pick up on this part?
2 shows which he also wrote for.
Yeah.
Make sure you say, I also wrote for the show. It's like, yeah, it's Stuttering John from the Howard Stern Show. Great. He also wrote some of the bits. Okay, whatever. I know him from the Howard Stern Show. Never heard a comic do that before.
Yeah, also say you loved him from these shows.
Right.
It's very important.
So I thought that was a tell right there that John is demanding some respect right out of the get-go. Listen to how he starts his set. He starts it as if he's already been up on stage for 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, everybody. So anyway, let's do this show down here, shall we? Anyway, let's do a big Danish skål.
Skål.
There we go.
So anyway.
Yeah, and you see, they laugh because that's funny. If that was actually a joke, that's to come up on stage and go, so anyway, as if you were in the middle of thought, is a strong opener. He has no idea.
He wasn't expecting laughter. Oh, fuck off.
Like the Howard Stern Show, he doesn't know why they're even laughing because it was on him. He has no idea. He so longs to be like a legend who's over it. He so just wants to be that guy who doesn't have to give you much in an interview, who can just kind of, go through his
Rodney
act half-assed.
Dangerfield in his last few years. Just
sing the
fuck off, I
song,
don't care.
sing it real fast, and everyone will cheer. They don't care. You have to actually do something. You have to get on stage and just have some kind of presence. Give one joke, then you can relax before you're over it. It hasn't even started yet, and he's out the door.
Also, he's trying to get the skull thing going. He wants that to be his get her done. Because he's friends with Larry, the cable guy.
For now.
And so, Dave, how many times did he yell skull throughout his set, do you think?
At least 20 times. Like my friend who was next to me, he's like, why does he keep yelling that? He couldn't understand why he kept yelling skull.
It's his, here's your sign. It's his hamburger. He really thinks that that's going to catch on. People are like, skull! Like, that's the skull guy. I love this guy.
It's a lack of material. I got you.
You don't think that catchphrases and stand-up in 2025 is a good idea? Just get everyone to yell that out with you. So he plants that seed very early. Guys, this is a Danish thing. When I drink my beer, I yell skull. I want everyone to participate in that. And people are confused by this. It's like, okay, we're just here to watch you do comedy. We're not drinking buddies. But, okay. John stumbles right out of the gate.
Well, I am Stuttering John, and thank you all for coming. I see we have a lot of marriage folks here. I mean, I mean, how
This is the guy who corrects people's spelling. I see we have a lot of marriage folks here.
Can you dumb it down for me, John?
Marriage. What's a marriage, folks?
Jesus Christ.
Fucking idiots.
I mean, how long you guys been married? You're not married? Where'd you guys meet?
At the library.
What the fuck is that?
It's where there's books.
Okay. Already, the audience member is funnier than John.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Where did you guys meet? At the library. He's like, oh! I was like, yeah, that's a funny response to that. And John had nothing for it. This was his response to, where did you guys meet? At the library.
A library? How about you guys? How long you been?
I mean,
Oh my god.
Why did you ask?
It would be so easy to put a joke together. And by the way, isn't this the man who says Bob Levy isn't even a comic because he's legendary for doing brilliant crowd work? He didn't even tell a joke. He got on stage, he dropped his name, which he feels is very important, and then looked around and said, what do you got? Marriage, you go.
marriage folks.
And then the person actually gave him something decent, and he went, fuck it, what about you?
I know. How do you not come up with something for a library for a joke right there? Like that's
anything.
That's what you hope for.
And he led with, so, yeah, I am Stuttering John. I think he was waiting for applause there. It's like, yeah, we know. You're headlining. You fucking idiot.
He's looking down at his note card, hold for applause.
Yeah. Oh.
Okay. So, yeah, he immediately does crowd work to start this show. Did you find that odd, Dave, when you were there?
Yeah, I thought he goes right into the jokes, but he's asking like a bunch of seniors in the front. And then if you notice, first he asks a guy and girl, he's like, oh, what are you guys here for? Oh, okay. And then the next one was like, oh, why are you next to him? He's like, I don't even know this guy. He's just
yeah,
he's
I
like
have that. Okay. So this is the rest of him responding to library.
A library? How about you guys? How long you been married? 10 years. 10 years? So you stopped fucking a while ago, huh?
So this is John's go-to. How long you been married? Are you still fucking? We've been covering this for a long time. They said they've been married 10 years. He goes, oh, so you stopped fucking a while ago. And people are like, yeah, pretty good. Pretty good stuff. So now he's looking around. Is there anyone here who's happily married?
Then we got this guy. Is this your boyfriend?
No, we're friends.
Friends, huh? And who's this guy?
I have no idea.
Why are you just friends? Because I'm looking at it. Is his dick really small? Come on, be honest. Is anyone happily married here? Liar. How long you been married?
58 years.
58 years? Holy shit. Holy shit. So no sex for the last 30, right? Either that or he has the fucking Viagra intravenously or something.
That's all he's got. He starts out the show with this crowd work just to be like, are you fucking still? That's the only thing he's got. And I have to call him out on his math on this.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Because the couple who's married for 10 years, it's been a while since you've had sex.
Right.
Couple who've been married for 58 years. Oh, so it's been like 30 years since you've had sex?
28 years of fucking is doing all
I was
right.
going to say, right? Yeah, I'd be like, I wish. That sounds amazing. But no, not quite. So I think he's confused at what his own joke is. And
He doesn't know, and I love how fast he gave up on that
Yeah.
one guy. He's like, well, what about you?
Everything everyone says is a disappointment to him. Even when he doesn't comment on it, he goes, ugh. Like, I don't know what he's expecting to hear or what the right answer is, John.
I'm starting to think he's a one-trick pony when it comes to the crowd work portion of his show.
What's the trick?
All right, it's just a pony. All right. This is getting into some hack material, stuff that we've heard before.
No, I'm divorced. I was married 13 years, 3 great years. I should have known it wasn't going to work when she picked our wedding song to be Little Miss Can't Be Wrong.
This is... Do you guys remember the hack era of the Dabbleverse when Kevin Brennan was yelling hack all the time and John couldn't stop himself from yelling hack because he was watching Kevin Brennan and emulating him. John is the definition of a hack comic. These jokes are so bad. I should have known I was in for a rough patch when my wife's wedding song was Little Miss Can't Be Wrong. Huh?
Also, these are they're not good jokes, but they're actual jokes compared with his crowd work.
True.
And he can't say them fast enough.
Yes. He's just got to get through it.
Yeah.
They're told with the delivery of a suffocating gargoyle who, like, these are his last words before he just gets choked to death. Let me ask you, Dave, this audience is very, very kind and really responsive and probably the best audience he could ever have for something like this. Who are these people?
It was definitely an older crowd, and they the openers kept encouraging them to just start drinking early, get the waitress out there, get everyone drinks.
Okay.
But it was definitely a older crowd. I think the few young people that were there were, I think, strictly for the Dabbleverse.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I was leaving, one of the young kids I saw outside, he's like, "You guys know about the Dabbleverse?" You guys, I'm like, "Yeah, we know about the Dabbleverse."
That's hilarious.
Like trying to sell you drugs.
I love it.
Do you like to
I
party?
am telling you, there is a world where John just takes this thing on tour. I've talked about it before. Tommy Wiseau, when he finally embraced it and he just started going and showing the room and doing a Q&A and stuff. There's a scenario where Stuttering John shows up places and people are following him around like the dead.
Oh, yeah.
Plus, he looks like he's dead. So there's some synergies there.
Yeah, and One Too Many becomes like the room. Like, he would have to embrace it in a way. He would have to do a Q&A, an actual Q&A, where people ask him questions that he has to answer. He would have to open himself up in ways that he won't. It's very interesting that the last time he played the Boca, there was like 6 people there, including Scott the engineer.
And his girlfriend.
And now there's so many people there. And they were smart to... they obviously put bad openers intentionally. They knew what they were doing. It's like when the person can't dance, so the dancers behind them are not doing very well. They got to tone it down. They obviously were smart. They got them drunk. They put a bunch of openers that weren't going to be good and then just sent them out there. I mean, he should be killing right now. This is as good as he's ever going to have it.
Yeah, this audience wants to laugh. And that's the thing about comedy audiences in general. They paid money. They made a decision. They're going to go out, watch a comedy show. They want to enjoy themselves. They're giving you the benefit of the doubt. You're the one on stage with the microphone. And that was the thing that we talked about with Ricky Melton, the other show that John did, where the audience was with him at first. Like, all right, this is a comedy show, Stuttering John. All right, cool. And then like halfway through, they're like, what the hell is he talking about?
He told me to fuck off, and then he sneezed on me.
Yeah, that'll do it.
That will certainly do it. All right. This next clip is a longer clip, but I had to pull the whole thing because he gets into dick jokes here. And he goes the long way. He doesn't take any shortcuts to get to the dick jokes. He takes the scenic route.
But, I mean, look, God bless you. I don't know how you do it. Where the blacks at? Oh, we got one black. Oh, there we go. Hey,
I thought it was going to turn into a Kramer moment, didn't you?
Yeah, it did cross my mind.
More
It sounds
crowd
weird
work
when he
Stuttering
says it.
John.
Yeah, it sounded weird.
Where's the blacks at? Jesus Christ.
There's literally one black couple the entire show. And that's
All
what he
right,
was
security,
referring to.
I need you to remove him. And her.
It's true what they say about the blacks. I know it's a stereotype. But when I was married, my wife convinced me to go, like we went to Hawaii, she convinced me to go to a spa. You know, so I sat in the spa, I'm sitting in the, like all the guys are naked. You would love it, sir. All the guys are naked. I'm sitting in the seaweed bath, feeling great, you know, because I'm pretty well endowed, you know. I'm 4 inches. Flaccid. This black guy came out of the shower, his dick had a dick. His balls were on a fucking dolly. Thank God for the Asian guy next to me, or I would have killed myself. Guy had a fucking vagina. What a hack.
This is the most hack dick jokes you could write. I mean, he didn't even write these jokes. These jokes have always existed.
Yes.
Black guys have a big penis, and Asian guys, not so much.
If he said it like that, that would have been funnier.
Yes, but that's why I talked about how long it took me to get there. I think Black's here just to get to that thing. I went on this thing. There's a spa. I have a 4-inch penis. Jesus Christ.
If he's aware of anything, it's the time and how he has to fill it. And that's why he is so repetitive and speaking so slowly. But the really worst part is that he calls himself a comedian, but he's been doing it for so long and he still hasn't decided if he's the character with the big dick or the tiny dick. He can't make up his mind. If he's the king who beds every woman in town or if he's the insecure loser that got kicked on and beat up in high school. Were you Marty McFly or were you a loser? He just wants to be whatever will get this joke from the joke book across so I can move on.
Yeah. He has a very hard time, even in that set that we talked about when he was in St. Petersburg, and he goes, I'm a married man, and he does a joke, and he's like, but I'm divorced, and he does a joke. It's like, so whatever suits the joke, I guess. You have a big penis when there's a dick joke about an Asian guy, but then, I don't know. I can't figure it out.
Well, that's how he is in life, too. Whatever suits the narrative.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. He does it with the woke stuff, too. Depending on who he's talking to is what he finds offensive.
He's also pretty drunk, right, Dave?
Yeah, you could tell like about halfway through the show, he asked for a guy to bring him another drink because he's like, I can't be sober. Keep the drinks coming.
Does he ever put his beer down? He's holding it the whole time, right?
Actually, I was pretty impressed that he didn't spill the beer once, considering that he was swinging around talking with his arms, and he had that drink in his hand pretty much the entire show. But yeah, he didn't spill it.
Go to a lot of comedy shows. Hannibal Buress this Friday. I'm excited. And I've never seen a comic hold on to an alcoholic beverage throughout their entire set ever. John is the only one I've seen do this.
It's less like a comic and more like John McCain, where he doesn't really have control over that side of his body, and it's just kind of holding it all together. You know, they just stick a beer in that claw hand so it can just remain looking normal.
Well, speaking of getting older.
But it sucks now, you know, I'm getting older. I know you can't tell because I look so young for my beverage.
What?
Like, you know, I have all the ailments, the hemorrhoids. You got the hemorrhoids?
What the fuck is he saying?
Okay, hold on. Well, maybe we have to listen to that one again. Because the first joke, I've never heard anything like this before. Let's listen closely.
But it sucks now, you know, I'm getting older. I know you can't tell because I look so young for my beverage.
Oh, the word age is hidden in
beverage ends with age, but it's not pronounced age.
No.
So it doesn't work. Maybe it works on paper, maybe, but I don't think so.
You're thinking down here. You got to think up here.
Yeah, no, this is a man having a stroke, and you're trying to put meaning behind it. Like, he's just glitching out and free associating.
I look good for my beverage. People are like, huh? What?
I wish he got a standing ovation right then, just to fuck with him.
Just to fuck with him, just be like, holy shit, this is where I got to go with this from now on. Wordplay. It's my new thing. And then listen to
become beverage.
Then listen to this.
Like, you know, I have all the ailments. The hemorrhoids.
Ailments?
You got the hemorrhoids?
Ailments. Yes, all the ailments.
Yeah. You don't have them?
I don't have all the ailments.
All right, okay.
I wish. Try to collect them all. So he goes into the hemorrhoid stuff. I didn't pull all the jokes here. We've heard these before. You know, he talks about the wiping his ass and it's chocolate-covered cherry, blah, blah, blah. But this one, I wasn't going to pull it. And then I went back and I'm like, no, we have to listen to this because I was going to describe it. I don't know that I've heard him tell this joke before. It's not a joke, by the way.
When my wife would go down on my ass, she'd come up with a mouthful of blood. Enjoy your appetite.
Delicious. When my wife would go down on my ass, she'd come up with a mouth full of blood.
There's 7 things wrong with that 6-word joke.
Like, wouldn't it be she'd look like a thing, you know?
Do you go down on a man's ass?
No, you don't.
Okay, all right.
You also wouldn't let your wife do that if you had bloody hemorrhoids. Like, hey, don't do that. I don't think it'd be fun for either party involved in that. And then this idea that she comes up with a mouthful of blood. It's like, well, yeah, your asshole's bleeding.
More like this idea that that's a joke. It's fascinating.
Well, then he goes, enjoy your appetizers. As if people are eating appetizers. But okay, whatever.
You know, people got offended at the Oscars because Adrian Brody threw his gum at his girlfriend.
Right.
Like, even if it happened, you're sharing it with everybody. You're sharing the story.
Right.
Is it a brag or is it a confession? What is this?
That's where he lost the crowd at the other show when he told that whole story about the birth of his son and New Year's Eve party, and she's making the food and washing the dishes, 9 months pregnant, water breaks. She's like, come on, Toots, we want dessert over here. And I was just like, ugh. You're not reading the room well.
Yeah, and he proved that he's not really a monster. He is just doing comedy by telling the woman who groaned to fuck off.
Right. They detected that was a true story, I think.
Oh, fuck off.
That's
All right, so now we're going to get into colonoscopy jokes.
You guys do this colonoscopy shit? Now that's a pain in the ass.
I'm sorry. There isn't a better definition of a hack joke than a colonoscopy is a pain in the ass. For John to say that on a stage is putting up a flag that's saying, I am a hack comedian, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about this.
Did you have to say buts?
That's pretty good, right? See how I did
And
that?
the reason it's not just it's deeply offensive and it makes me so angry is because all I can think of is what he accuses Jackie Martling of doing, of how he claims he's a better comedian than Artie. He says Artie doesn't write his own material. He says Anthony's not a comedian. Like, it's one thing to be making a celebrity appearance and pretending to be a comedian and sheepishly taking the money and running away. It's another thing to stand here and call yourself the second coming of Lenny Bruce while doing just fortune cookie material.
When Chrissy Mayer said he dabbled in comedy, that should have been a compliment.
Right.
Yeah, thank you.
Because he's not even close to dabbling in comedy with a colonoscopy as a pain in the ass joke. He should be embarrassed. Also, you laughed at the setup of this. Only John could do this.
You guys do this colonoscopy shit?
You guys do this colonoscopy shit? You guys have routine procedures and stuff?
Yeah.
Who here's had a screening? Huh?
Yeah. Anybody who has, it's not a fun topic to bring up.
You ever get your teeth cleaned? Yeah, John, what the fuck? What are you talking about?
Yeah, and it's the room is old. It's like, who here got bad news from the doctor today, huh?
You guys do this colonoscopy shit?
That's got to go on the board. You guys do this colonoscopy shit. Okay. So then he talks about why colonoscopies are not enjoyable.
But see, it's not that giant camera they put up your ass and everything. It's that fucking drink. Do you guys know what this is? That drink they give you? It's like that, like kind of creamy, like it's like cloudy, you know, it's salty, and they drink it. Jewish women would spit it out. Think about it.
So John makes the obvious cum joke and then goes, think about it. As if we're like, why would a Jewish woman spit? Oh, intriguing. I didn't realize that she was going with this. Also, I had a problem with the setup of this. The giant camera they shove in your ass. It's not a Betamax from 1984.
I didn't think it was big enough, actually.
Got lost in there, unfortunately. So that didn't make any sense to me. But I love the fact that he came up with the problem is this drink you have to drink and you shit your brains out. That's the uncomfortable part of a colonoscopy. They put you out for the procedure, and that's not a big deal. But John's got another joke on this one. And when I say hack, I can't spell it with a big enough capital H for this one right here.
But you gotta clean your colon, right? Like either you drink this or you go to Chipotle. I mean, it's one or the other.
Home run, Comey, a home run.
Guys, you could either drink this drink or, listen to this, eat a burrito.
He needs it because it's the most modern reference in his entire act.
True. He did update that from Taco Bell at one point. And went, wait, there's this Chipotle chain that's been catching on.
And only on that joke for some reason. Everything is still VHS, DVD, renting porn, like that. He needed
huge
to update.
cameras up your ass.
I put a burrito in the microwave and took a shit in the toilet as it was cooking.
I don't think he's ever had a colonoscopy. I don't think he's had it done. I think his
No,
friends have. He's heard
Good
about
point.
it. There's no way he
Good
made
point.
the time in his day to do that or did it at home and sent it in or whatever you got to do. There's no way. He just heard about it.
Oh, God, that poor doctor would have to perform that thing. Dave, at this point, I'm just picturing it being an audience member and he's talking about colonoscopies being a pain in the ass and Chipotle cleaning you out. How hard are you rolling your eyes, or are you laughing along with everyone else? Like, how are you absorbing this material?
To me, it was just kind of like surreal. Like you hear him bombing on the show and on his podcast, and it was just kind of just sitting there, just watching him bomb in person, just kind of just appreciating the moment. Like my friend was laughing more because he's new to it. He hasn't heard these jokes 1,000 times like I did.
Yeah.
So he was laughing a little more, but you can't see it from the video, but almost every joke where he doesn't get her laugh, he does that fake laugh. Like you could almost hear it in the,
Yep.
He did it so many times.
A few times I heard him do that. Yeah, that was one of the things I was wondering about is, are there enough dabblers there who are laughing this off because it's so bad that they're enjoying it?
Yeah, after a while, people were screaming "scold" like when he was not even asking for it.
Okay, good. So again, he's onto something here. This next joke, I think it's worded incorrectly. I don't want to Tom Myers it like we always do and say, well, you got to move this over here. But definitely this could be worded better.
And then this goddamn thing they put up your ass. How many assholes has this camera seen? Jesus Christ, it's got to be more than a Scientology convention.
Hacker!
How many assholes has this camera seen? It's got to be more than a Scientology convention. Wouldn't it be like this camera's seen more assholes than, isn't that how you deliver that type of joke? No, you had to make it a two-parter. Maybe again, Adam, maybe he's just stretching for time. He's just turning every joke as many words as possible, I suppose.
Think about it, and then the pause that's a good 10, 15 seconds right there.
All right. This next joke, again, not a up-to-date joke by any means, but it is probably more relevant than most of the things he talks about.
But then, I'm telling you, you don't feel the pipe up your ass. Because they give you this drug. This fucking drug. It's amazing. It's like they say count down to 10. By the time you get to 8, you're fucking passed out. You don't feel any of it. This drug is so good, it was endorsed by Bill Cosby. Oh, come on. It's a fucking joke. Scout!
Dave, is that you laughing at that? Is that your buddy? It sounds like someone at your table.
That was my buddy. Yeah, he was hearing it for the first time.
This fucking Bill Cosby joke. Just like, holy shit. When was Bill Cosby in the news for this stuff? 12 years ago?
It was a little bit more recent.
Was it?
Yeah.
All right. So props to John for
It's still a new joke for him, isn't it? It's a new one. I haven't heard that.
Yeah, right. Sounds a little bit newer. This one right here just falls apart. This is a disaster.
Then the other thing that happens, the other thing that's even worse, I swear to God, ladies, I mean, I'm 59. How old are you, sir?
58.
There you go. I swear. Ladies, I'm embarrassed to say this. I was having sex with a girl. And I was getting tired.
She's embarrassed.
Like, literally, I was like, holy shit, my arms can't stay up that way anymore. And I faked an orgasm. Now, I'm telling you, ladies, we don't have any experience. You guys have it down. So I faked the orgasm. And I was like, She's like, you didn't just come. I go, yeah, I did. No, you didn't. See, this is why. See, women have been, you guys have been taught to be great actors. This is why Meryl Streep is nominated every fucking year for the Academy Award. You guys are taught to be great actors. But anyway, I digress. So I was married.
Oh no!
You know,
a punchline came and went, and I didn't realize it.
Yeah, you guys were taught to be great. I thought that was going to be the punch on them. You guys were taught to be great actors.
Skull!
Anyway.
Yeah, the Skull and I used to be married are his default, like, I blocked out, I don't know what to do. He just says those when he's
the occasional,
frozen.
oh, fuck off.
It sounds like he forgot where he was going or what he was doing with that. He just blanked out, which...
I got to back that up real quick.
This is why Meryl Streep is nominated every fucking year for the Academy Award. You guys are taught to be great actors. But anyway, I digress. So I was married. I was married for 13 years, as I said, and my wife, I don't blame her for leaving me.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was a debacle in every single way. Holy shit. That train went right off the tracks.
Yeah. Another crutch of his is when he starts going, fucking
hell. He does that a lot.
Filler.
When he doesn't know what to say. The faking orgasm thing just went nowhere. So bad.
It didn't land the way he expected it to, and he doesn't realize that what he's implying is that every girl that slept with you, John, has had to fake an orgasm. There's someone in that room that's like, no, not everyone I've slept with, so I don't know what you're talking about. It's not just a given that they're all full of shit. Maybe it's just with you, John.
Yeah, they're not being taught. It's a necessity.
Yeah, on their wedding day when their mother sits them down and explains to them how to fake pleasure and pretend you're like the person that you're married to.
Yeah, so you got to get rid of the ring around the collar. I got a thing for that. You got to fake orgasms. I'll help you with that thing.
And now let's talk about the blood, because there's going to be a lot of it. It's going to get all over your face.
So then John goes into So then John goes into a whole thing about how short his family is, which I think is interesting, only because John claims to be 5'8.5", and we all know
he gets taller every year.
Yeah, we all know that he's smaller than that. But this is him talking about that, and starts talking about his grandparents.
My grandparents were the last two surviving members of the Lollipop Guild.
Is that the oldest reference in this set? It's got to be, right? 1939? I mean, we're almost at 100 years for this one.
Tippecanoe and Tyler 2.
My sister, I swear to God, is 4'8". She's legally a dwarf. To give an idea how short she is, my son is already taller than her, and he's 5.
Nope. Your son is 18 or 19 and going to Harvard. Oh no. He's still using that joke? Like, you just got to update it with something.
Or lose the joke.
No, wait, the joke's not great either. My son's already taller, and he's 5.
45 minutes, Chris. He's got at least 45 minutes to kill.
So are you guys still fucking?
They would fucking in the bathroom now? Should we all go check?
Tell me more about this library.
I saw Uncle Rico's show, because they got the audio from the night before this. So it's a same set, but different, which is interesting. They were bringing it down to Uncle Rico's show. And I don't know if it was Mike or Zen who was just like, dude, just steal the Danny DeVito joke. You could have it. People would like that. My sister's so short, come up with something about Danny DeVito. Not your 5-year-old son. That hasn't been the case in 13 years. It's so weird.
In a couple ways.
But it just shows you how dated all of this material is. All right. This is him just stammering. I just thought this was hilarious.
I
That's just a full-on panic attack.
Wow. Now he's turned into Opie. What the fuck is happening?
Yeah, that is such an Opie right there. We know John is Stuttering John, but this is beyond that.
But yeah, I
I'm so jealous of you, Dave. I got a note from my buddy Vinny Paulino this morning because I was teasing that we were going to have Dave on and we are going to play this stuff when I was on with Drew yesterday. And Vinny's like, what do I got to do to be a part of one of these breakdowns of John's stand-up?
Funny.
And I said, I don't know, maybe you could go to the Ohio show and get us some.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, I want to go to that too. So maybe we'll make a trip out of it. Go to see, because I really do want to see this live. This is incredible. So now we get to the part where he's talking about the fat chick Missy that he hooked up with. We've all heard this bit before.
I got nothing against fat chicks, nothing against fat chicks. I once had the best blowjob from a fat chick. Figured she was hungry or something, but I take it. I brought her back to my house. She blew me again. Her name was Missy. She blew me again. She goes, John, now what are you going to do for me? So I baked the lasagna.
That's
I don't know.
dumb.
Well,
I can't believe he's still doing that joke. He's been doing that joke his entire stand-up career, and he still thinks that's his A material.
I know, it's sad.
He gave the punchline a different delivery, and he added the name Missy for some reason.
No, Missy's been in that joke for a long time, and the reason why I know that is because Missy B and Anthony went to see him at Governor's, or whatever that it was on Long Island that he was performing, and Missy thought he was making the joke about her and got very offended by it. Because, they were hanging out before that and shit, and it's just like, whoa, now you're calling the fat chick that sucked your dick Missy? That's fucked up. He probably should have changed the name.
And he just kept it to prove...
Maybe. Maybe that was
adding the
first
name
time.
doesn't help the joke in any way, and the name Missy is not,
It's not a
helping.
fat girl joke. Right.
And just that intro, that I'm fine with fat girls. Don't groan. They're fine. Okay?
Yeah, I let them suck my dick, and then I call them out for being obese. It's great.
He has no idea that people are laughing at how, obnoxious that is. Just like back in the day. He has no idea that a lot of those laughs are, wow, look at this guy. He thinks that's funny.
I'll remind everyone.
You are the least funny person I've ever met. You are not funny.
Okay.
You're obnoxious. Okay. You're not funny.
Thank you, Howard. Thanks for reminding us. This is the last clip I have because, Dave, I got to 10 minutes in and I said, this is enough. We got to break this up into different, there's too much to get to here. But this is still talking about the fat chick.
I ain't going down the fat chick shit. Beating like a double cheese Whopper Deluxe or something in calories. But no, nothing against fat people. I love old people. Everybody, let's do the Danish skull. Skull!
He saved himself there. He got out of that bit with the skull. But no, seriously, no. Fat chicks. I went down there and it's like a double Whopper Deluxe. That sandwich doesn't exist.
Tough crowd.
That was something else.
He tells a joke later on about driving in the car with his kid in the back seat in the car seat while stoned. And this is so dated. When's the last time he's been around his kids, let alone driven with them in the car seat? And it sounds like the only joke he might have written recently because it's about LA traffic. I don't know. It's really bad, but he doesn't know what he's doing.
I actually have that one. I played it on Drew's show last night. Here's a little bonus for us.
Drinking and smoking weed it doesn't work, sir. I know you're a big fucking stoner, but it doesn't work. Because you always get paranoid, right? Smoking weed, it was like the other night, like I'm sitting there going, I know there's a cop behind me. I know there's a cop behind me. Then I pull out of the driveway.
Hacker!
But it's weird. And then, you fucking, okay, who's the idiot that put the big wall next to the fast lane, but the grass next to the slow lane? Like, you ever notice that? Like, I'd be driving in the fast lane stoned, and you got the wall on the side of you got thick cars on the other, and I'd be paranoid, thinking I'm Luke Skywalker flying to the goddamn Death Star. I got my son strapped in the back like R2-D2. Fucking hell.
That right there killed the mood. He's like, oh, he's driving dangerously on the expressway while he's high. He's like, yeah, my son's in the back.
Oh.
Wait, what? Why is this? Jokes don't have to be real. Yeah, but I don't like it anyway. I don't even like the fake version of that. What are you doing?
Fucking hell. Yeah.
Skull, fucking hell. All right, moving on.
Can we go back to the jokes where you're beating your wife as opposed to murdering your kid and vehicular manslaughter?
So some of my research today was finding new drops like BoJack Horseman.
What a hack!
Of course, Tukey.
Hacka!
Rick Sanchez.
Whoa, what am I, a hack?
Roger the Alien.
Hack! Hacky!
So thank you.
All
John.
funnier than John.
Thank you, John, for helping me find some new hack drops on there. And Dave, thank you very much.
Carl, did you see the end of the set? Did you see what joke he finished the set with?
I did not yet. I'm saving that. What do we got?
Which one you think his most famous joke?
Did he do the squeegee bit?
Yeah, he picked up his shirt, looked like he was freshly shaven, and gave him the big
oh wow
goodbye joke.
I can't wait to hear the reaction to that. Did it go over well?
Yeah, like I said, most people heard it for the first time, so it was a little. He's funny when you hear him for the first time, but I saw
Jewish women going, "What's that?"
What? Well, Dave, thank you very much for coming on. We'll definitely play the rest of that in upcoming episodes. So thank you for getting that audio. It sounds fantastic. Like I said,
thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it. Had a great time.
Anything you want to promote?
No, just love the show. Love Adam joining the show, and looking forward to more episodes.
Awesome.
Is that Clearwater Chad in the room with you?
Yeah, who's next to there?
That's my daughter.
Oh, no need. Okay.
Say hi.
Hi. Hi, Dave's daughter. All right. Thanks, Matt. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks again, guys. Have a good one.
All right. Bye. You too, buddy. All right. So somehow we lost producer Chris.
Oh, it's okay.
It's not okay. There you are. There you are right there. We got Christian Bladt hanging backstage. I can't wait to see his presentation of the outtakes from Pure Genuine's Frenchie Hana.
I know. It's Christmas.
Coming up in just a minute. But first, I want to remind everyone, please support the show. You can do that on SuperTip, supertip.gg/WATP. Those are the ones we like the best because we get more of the money and we get it faster. YouTube takes a pretty big cut, but we do appreciate you guys supporting us on YouTube, like the Looney Tunes critic, Ramon. Bring me a bit of broadcasting failure, Ramon. I think that's going back to the Opie segment. Jim Simmons from Australia says, hey, Carl, sorry for calling Jim Kelly a fat loser last week. He's not actually fat. Hey. AO1012, Billy Corgan? Awesome. Referring to Dave. Apparently he's also brothers with Bill Burr. Stewie Fell says, wow, Billy Corgan's dad really got around. Okay, yep. Everyone's picking up on that. CJ Ham coming in big time. Hamburger, $20. Thank you very much, CJ Ham, for that. And CJ Ham comes back right after that with another $20. You and Adam should do a two-man show called Burger Bush. A Bush Burger would make more sense to me. But I like it. Well, we'll spitball that. It's
fucking marketers.
We're off to a good start, though. I like it. Even John's crowd work is lazy. It's the laziest crowd work.
Talk to the audience. Oh, God, this is always death.
CJ Ham with another $20. Actually, add Tukey Fur Burger Bush.
Ooh.
I like that. Now you're making some good points right there. You think you could work with the puppet, Adam?
Oh, yeah, I'm into it. As long as he shows me his face ahead of time.
Takedown DDT. Hey, Boca Dave, what's your recording setup? Asking for a friend going to SJ's Niles show. I'm sorry. I should have gotten the answer to that sooner. I'll ask him. I'll send him an email. I'm assuming it's an iPhone on the table. Would be my guess. Right. That's usually how the people do it. I doubt he had people mic'd up. Jim's Gimpy Halloween hand, who I met in Detroit last year. If his name were Juan Melendez, he'd be booed off the stage at a small town open mic on a Tuesday night. He's lucky he gets the sympathy laugh still. I agree with you. However, I saw that from a different perspective just now. John is so bad and so over the top gross in front of these old people, talking about the most disgusting things going down on a guy with bloody hemorrhoids and sucking his ass and stuff. I'm like, wait a second. There might be something to this act that's interesting. You know what I mean? Like, if you just walked into a comedy club, you're like, what the fuck? You might actually think that there's something more to it than
He
that.
still got it.
Michael P., the audience probably enjoyed Gin Blossoms, too. Going back to the Spin Doctors reference. Genta, are these people mentally ill? What the fuck is funny?
Good question.
As Dave told us, they had him drinking early and often on this show. So I think that was a big part of it. But people were there to laugh for sure. He had a very generous audience. Rumpled Trenchcoat, a Columbo podcast. Adam's right. SJ can't have had a colonoscopy because you can't drink alcohol during the prep. The prep is neither white nor salty, by the way. The setup is infinitely stupid. Yeah, I know. It was a real stretch. Just to go with the hack, Jewish women. We get it. Hamhead, did Clearwater Chad write the Scientology joke? He does have an issue with Scientology. It's possible. He gave him that one. Rocco Orby 2002. Did Stuttering John borrow Tom Meyer's acolyte to laugh at his jokes? Very possible.
There is an interesting similarity there where people do laugh just to get out of this situation, I think, at Tom and at John. You know, John
Nervous
has a bit of the
laughter.
celebrity excitement, but yeah, it's so uncomfortable and awkward to sit there and let them know that. You just kind of laugh to get it over with, you know? I think there's a lot of that happening.
I've sat at many a table with people who laughed at comics that weren't funny, and it's all nervous laughter. It's just you don't want to hear that silence. It's uncomfortable for everyone in the room to hear that silence after the punchline.
Are you talking about Joe Matarese?
I am. Laziest man on Mars says, make it stop.
We did.
AO 1012 just pulls that e-brake every joke. Every time. Jack Sampson's been a member for 1 month. Adam is always great on these shows. Adam, loved you on Buffy as Angel.
Thank you.
And Zach Hoffman's been around for a year now, says, what was more horrible, John Sett or what Richard Roeper now looks like? Yikes. Next to, okay, I should have pulled some clips of him with Richard Roeper. John's filter is working so fucking hard. Mac should use this in a commercial for what MacBooks can do. Because we all know what John actually looks like. And it was just a different person talking to Richard Roeper on his big comeback show.
John was wrong about every single one of his Oscar picks. Everyone was wrong.
I mean,
and he had only seen one of the films, so the audacity of just even guessing is just beyond me.
What film did he see?
Oh,
Substance?
No,
Nora, was that one?
I'm sorry. I'm going to jump in because I know he saw The Brutalist.
The Brutalist.
And we played this on WAT.
All right.
Did you guys hear something?
This fucking guy.
You know,
our conversation.
Look, I had a clip for what you wanted, Carl.
It's funny because The Brutalist album.
Oh, hold on a second. I got to get this on the stage.
Oh, yeah, the orientation's all different.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
That's-
Go
all
ahead.
right. This is the big show. This isn't Who Are These Broadcasters.
Right.
My apologies.
No worries.
It's funny because The Brutalist, albeit a great movie, but the brutal part is how fucking long it is.
I saw that on Who Are These Broadcasters yesterday. And like even Zia, who did a phenomenal job filling in for Eric Zane.
Thank you.
Just like, yeah, I mean, everyone makes that joke in their head. They don't say it out loud.
When you hear the title of the movie and you see it's 3 hours and 35 minutes, you go, ooh, the runtime, that's what's brutal. But Richard Roeper wasn't really having it. But
Richard Roeper's just like, ugh.
Look at that filter, though. Look, it doesn't get rid of the shine, though.
No, I think it adds to the shine, if anything. Richard
John
Roeper.
He doesn't ever say anything that would actually prove he's seen The Brutalist. He only, like Opie, talks about what you would know from, seeing the trailer or just seeing the box or the poster. He never, also, I know he thinks he's smart, but he knows not to, offer an opinion. He never says what he thinks first. He always makes sure Richard gives him the parameters. Was this good or was this bad? Were we offended or was it pleasing? Was it a comedy? Was it romantic? You say that first and then I'll try and sneak something in that's just as middle of the road as possible to get through this.
Very similar to his political show.
Mm-hmm. So why did he do this? Did he do this just to keep the YouTube, what is it, the monetization?
No,
Is that why he was obligated?
Richard Roeper, for whatever reason, owes John a ton of favors. It must be going back to the Tonight Show days. Something happened because for some reason he's the last guy who still does John's show from that era of knowing John. And so John, every year, you got to come on my show, talk about the Oscars. And I'm sure Richard Roeper's making the rounds. He's probably on a media tour. This is what he does. And to go on John's show for the couple hundred viewers of that is such a waste of his time. It's also probably tedious, like you were saying, Adam.
Well, he even said he was giving John an hour, and he's saying, like, I'm doing a lot of shows, but I'll give you an hour, and you should consider yourself lucky. A lot of people want to talk to me the day before the Oscars.
No shit. I'm going to bring Dave back on if he's available. I see him backstage. Dave, let me. Oh, you're muted on your end, buddy.
If we hear him talking shit about us like Clearwater Chad, it's going to be amazing.
It might be in the soft.
Hey guys, I wish he was eating wings right now.
Yeah, right.
Tell us about the recording setup. How did you get such a good recording?
I just held the phone in my hand and started recording from the Notes app.
Okay, so don't leave it on the table because then it will get knocked around, and hold it in the hand.
Well, it was chairs. Like the way it was set up, it was just like rows of chairs. So I was just holding it in my hand while I was sitting like.
I don't have tables in this place. Oh, that's right. I forgot this place is like a theater setup.
And it was the smaller room also.
Right.
You have the main room that's bigger, and then the smaller room that's the one he packed out.
Small room for small guys. All right, thanks, Dave. Wanted to bring him back to get that hot takes as we have people going out to get more audio recordings. Christian, welcome to the show, Christian Bladt.
Hey, it's great to be here. Great to see everyone. Thank you for having me back.
You did a phenomenal job last week for our 600th episode because you got Frenchie Hana to pay tribute to WATP.
Welcome to Pure Genuine, where we dive into authentic experience like never before. Yes. Yes, it's your host right here, Frenchie Hana. Yes.
Now, Christian, brilliant job on getting Frenchie to record that for us.
Thank you.
I assume that's going to come out of our budget for this year?
Well, it's going to have to because, producer Chris wouldn't own up to the role he played in there. I texted both him and Lucy and hoping that they'd talk me out of it. Lucy said, no, it's too much money. And Chris was like, oh, I'm never going to try to talk you out of anything. Do it. So I did indeed give Frenchie Hana $150.
All right. Well, we'll take care of that. That could come out of the WATP funds. Thank you. Money well spent, my friend.
Right. Well, and it came after trying to get Tom Myers to record something. And I asked him, and, I sent him a whole thing, and I don't know if it'll come up on the screen. I don't know the way we're sharing it. But so I go into a whole thing, and he just responds with his Venmo. And I was like, okay, well, yeah. I was like, all right, just let me know how much it is. And he goes, it's called sarcasm. You probably can't afford me. And all I did was I wrote back, Tom, I could definitely afford you, but you know what? I'm going to take the amount I was going to give you, double it, and give it to Jeff Heisen. And then he blocked me.
Well done. That's hilarious.
Yeah, that's a good joke.
Okay. Another thing that I was going to pull, but we had too much to get to today from Tom's show this morning that I was watching is that Tom now has a scroller going that shows all of his top donators. Remember, he's not even monetized yet on YouTube, and he's already trying to grift the audience. The scroll has 2 contributors on it. It just continues to scroll across 2 people's names and the dollar amounts that they gave him. It's like, Tom, you're trying to play in the big leagues here, and you're still using a milk carton for a glove. That's not how any of this works. But all right, I'm sorry. Enough about Tom. I love that you tried that, Christian.
Sure.
Good instincts.
But so then I was just like, oh, fuck it. I'm going to reach out to Frenchie Hana. And we love Frenchie. And the idea that I was going to get to talk to her. So now this is interesting because I don't know if I can hit play on it. Let's see what happens. No, I cannot.
Oh, I got to do it on my end.
My whole plan that I was going to scrub the video doesn't seem to work when it's set up like
you were just playing a video.
You had to put it on there, and yeah, I don't see the little play button that I usually get, but I know how I'll do it. All right, I got it.
Okay.
All right, here we go. All right,
You got
So
this.
This is when I first get to talk to her.
Hello. Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing good. You got me. I'm here.
And just look how happy she is to be talking
Mm-hmm.
to somebody, and I'm twice as happy to get the chance to talk to her. I mean, getting the chance to talk to Frenchie, and I do want to get to the moment I basically did this to. This is the accounting, Carl. So that this is basically me saving my receipt.
The proof. There's the 150.
Yeah.
Okay,
I was like,
very
no, I
good.
really did. And, again, I don't regret it. But so I sent her a script. And as you'll know from the video that did get submitted for the 600th, she maybe had some issues reading it. And Adam, you had some interesting insight. You thought that this was an Orson Welles Frozen Peas commercial where there was a lot of directing going on here. No, I did absolutely no directing. I gave her a script, and then you're seeing me now. I just jumped off camera, and I wanted to let Frenchie find her voice. This is her character, and I wanted to let her have this performance.
Okay. Yes, it's me, Frenchie Hana. Hello to Carol and Chris and Andy and Lucy and Vinny.
By the way, she every time called you Carol. I figured it was not my job to correct her on that.
Talk about retarded.
And everyone celebrating 600 episodes. As a podcaster myself, it's a great accomplishment to do that many episodes of a podcast. Here's to 600 more episodes. Here to 6,000 more episodes. Please give them some advice.
Okay, so then she starts reading stage directions. By the way, you might realize that hysterical joke, here's to 600 episodes, here's to 6,000 episodes, that didn't make it in the final cut. That kind of got lost when she did her next read.
So you never said like look at the camera or anything like that, like get the gist of it and just kind of.
No, Carl, why would I want to do that? She's an artist. We've appreciated her entire body of work.
Good point.
So, I do you want to tell Adrian Brody to stop talking after 5 minutes?
Yes.
No.
Yes,
Well,
we all
okay.
did.
All right. Well,
They tried to play him off multiple times.
You look at the art of cinema a little differently than the rest of us do. But there's a couple of tries. I'm not going to make you watch every single one, but I should probably post this whole video at some point.
Myself, it's a great accomplishment to do that many episodes of a podcast. As a podcaster myself, it is a great accomplishment to. Oh, I'm reading it.
So I want to point out that was not in her script twice. She just read
Perhaps I'm a retard.
it. Perhaps. But maybe you know what they say, Carl. 8th time's a charm.
Cut. Here we go. Yes, it's me, Frenchie Hana. Hello to Carol and Chris and Andy and Lucy and Vinny and everyone celebrating 600 episodes. As a podcaster myself, it's a great accomplishment to do that many episodes of a podcast. Here to celebrate 600 episodes, here to 6,000 more episodes.
Joke's funnier every time.
Now, what makes it to be a good we give them some advice. Okay. Ugh.
Okay, now I feel like I'm just being mean.
Yeah, I agree. Like this is a lot of work for Frenchie.
Hey, she got $150, Carl. How much money did she get the rest of the week?
I'm impressed that she's literate. I had no idea.
Yeah,
so there's
that was actually the big surprise.
That's good news.
All right. So now you saw the video itself. Everybody saw it in episode 600. So this is after, she probably assumes we're not recording anymore. But again, I am being a little mean here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's how she says Hackamania. Yeah. That's great. The one thing I'll ask is the thing from the end. Just say, welcome to Hackamania.
Oh, welcome to, okay, here we go. Welcome to Hack-A-Mania.
And I'm just hoping the whole weekend starts with that. But that's perfect. I'm not going to tell you how to run the show. Thank you.
It's on my board, buddy.
Very much for giving us that. Everybody will appreciate that. Yeah. And we hope you're back out there putting out more podcasts soon. Okay, now you ended up having this scoop. I was so excited. That's why I didn't clip this part, because you had in the 600th, she, I guess, mapped out the plans for the future. You had a better understanding than I think Frenchie did when she told me this.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for watching my videos and having interest into them. Yes, plenty more videos coming out very, very soon for you and all around the world and nation. Yeah.
All right. Well, all around the world and nation. And again, I did have the instinct that we were done, but I wasn't going to stop recording, and I also wasn't going to tell her what button to push.
How do we leave?
And I realize I don't belong on this screen. You know, I might steal some of the spotlight.
Right.
Well done.
I've learned a few things over the years. Shut up.
That's enough of that. All right. So what did you learn? What would you do differently next time?
Well, so here's the one thing that I didn't want to put in the script, the words, who are these podcasts? Because I didn't know if she'd seen videos that you had clipped out. So I didn't want to scare her off. So I did tussle with that. And that is probably an oversight. Maybe at the end, I should have gotten a WATP out of her. That's the only thing I feel like I would have done different. But Adam, should I have done, for a performer like that, should I have done more to help her find her voice there?
No, you want to let her do whatever she thinks is right. I love that you got the private moment in public at the end there. Did she ask to see the Venmo? Is that why you showed it to her?
Yeah.
So you said, I paid you, and she said, let me see it.
Well, yeah. Well, no. So it was mostly for the camera that I wanted to show how much money I gave her that I didn't give to Tom Myers. That was part of it. But also, she wanted me to pay her first, and I love Frenchie Hana. But I said, no. You know what? Let's meet up in a StreamYard link, and then once we start talking, I'll pay you then. And she didn't have Venmo. She didn't have PayPal. I got Cash App just to be able to pay Frenchie Hana. So
you went the distance.
I believe my savings
Cash App before.
Yeah, I believe my savings are all gone now, but it was worth it.
Right. So this was really like one of those things where with the hostage and the reward money, and you're like, oh, all right, let's make sure she's safe first, and then.
Yeah. Should I have talked her down? 150 seemed like it wasn't so bad, considering John charges 55 or 60 now. I figured the
amount of fun that we've had with Frenchie Hana. Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
she's definitely earned that.
Well,
and now we're back. How you heard of her? Was she like, where did you find me, or just accepted it?
No.
Just another fan. Great.
She's Frenchie Hana, of course. That there's fans of pure genuine. You know.
You know what I like about the 150 figure?
Yeah,
is that's what Ray DeVito would be so excited about going on MLC and being made fun of for 2 hours straight. I get 150 for that? All right, I'm in. Let's go.
I was in
making clown noises for $1.99.
right.
I was in a StreamYard room with her for 12 minutes, and she got $150. So good for Frenchie.
And a lot of exposure, I have to say.
Oh, yeah. And, Chris did point out that now that she and I are best friends, she does live in Vegas now, Carl.
Yes.
And it wouldn't be that hard. You guys were talking about going on her show. Oh, I don't think that's the play. I think she needs to be at Hack-A-Mania. Maybe give her a booth like Helga Mann.
She's our MC.
That's a really good idea.
That's an even better idea.
Yeah. Like we had with Ted Williams in Detroit, where he brings us up. We get Frenchie Hana to do that.
Okay, that was Carol. And
yes, all of you in the back.
For those people in the back, remember to line. All right, Christian, can you hang out with us for a minute?
Absolutely.
All right, let's get into it. We're real late with our
Cringe of the Week. Cringe of the Week.
This one comes in from my buddy Jackie Marlowe, who has been spending most of his life digitizing all the old Howard Stern episodes, and he was at it again this week and he found this clip from December 23rd, 1996. So it's not really the spirit of Cringe of the Week, but I'll let it slide on this one. Apparently, this was played during one of Stuttering John's first on-air tryouts for what would become Out to Lunch.
Oh.
And he says he's going to send that to me in a separate email in a few days. So John doing his radio show. This is a K-Rock bumper styled as a PSA against drunk driving. Starting with cheery Christmas bells, it features a drunken, loud Gary at the K-Rock Christmas party detailing how one of his friends drove drunk. And you'll hear the rest of this. So this is Gary Delabate recording this from a Christmas party meant to be a PSA on K-Rock.
Another holiday greeting from K-Rock's Drunken Christmas Staff Party.
Hey, this is Baba Booey. I want to wish you a happy holiday from me and my family. And I want to tell you not to drink and drive, because I had a friend who did that, and I'm not kidding around. He ran this girl over and he killed her, and he spent 4 years in jail, and her family was really pissed off, obviously, and his whole life was ruined. So don't drink and drive, but have a happy holiday.
K-Rock.
So, not the best bumper coming out of that PSA either. I love that Gary goes, and her family was really pissed off about it.
Yeah, but even he realizes, obviously they were within their rights to be a little ticked off about
right.
Who
no
killed
judgment.
Their daughter. Yeah,
they were annoyed to say
ruin their weekend.
Yeah, his life didn't go well after it either. Just so you know, 4 years in jail. Yeah, I feel bad for him. That's terrible. All right. We tried to do this in episode 600. Adam, we didn't get a chance to do it. I want to talk to you about Armie Hammer because, well, why don't you give a little background on Armie Hammer, who has had major starring roles in Hollywood, The Social Network. I don't even know his entire list of credits, but he was a rising star. And then bad things happened. Do you want to give people the background on this, Adam? Do you know it?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you that people don't already know, except he was caught being very aggressive and abusive to hundreds of women and became real viral for having a taste for cannibalism. And what's so amazing is that he loves to talk about it. He loves to fantasize about it. He's eaten raw animal flesh in, hunting, rituals. He's obsessed with it. He's written so much about it, but just like John and just like Opie and all the people that we love, he refuses to admit it in any way and thinks he can go on a kind of rehabilitation campaign to change his image without actually learning anything new or admitting to anything he's done. And we get to witness this on so many different platforms. It's just incredible. And it seems like the worse it goes, the more he likes it and the more he has to do it, because this is just sinking anything that was left of his potential career.
So he went on the Louis Theroux podcast, which I believe is a British podcaster, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
And so he went on there to, again, he's trying to rehabilitate his image because he was messaging with women about eating their ribs, like these fantasies he would have. He wants to brand them. Maybe he did brand women. I can't remember the details of all of this when it was coming out. Pretty heinous shit. And so Louis Theroux had some questions for Armie Hammer.
Did you cut the heart out of the animal and eat it while still warm?
No, you don't eat the whole heart.
You didn't
One of the
do that.
traditions is you take a bite out of the heart, and you've got all your buddies around you. They're goading you on. It's sort of like a almost
Gang rape?
overly charged male rite of passage when you go hunting for your first time. Everyone that I know who went hunting for their first time had to do something similar.
So you did that?
Yeah. Not for the purpose of any cannibalism or any sexual gratification. No.
Well, that definitely wasn't the question. Yeah. Sexual gratification. I hope we weren't jerking off on the deer afterwards. Holy shit.
No one mentioned that at all.
Yeah.
And
So
that
the
is
guy
not
goes,
a rite
"Did
of
you- did you-"
passage or a tale as old as time. That is not something that everybody does hunting. And just the distinction he had to make. No, I didn't eat it. I just, took a bite from it. Is something a cannibal would say.
Yeah, did you eat the heart while it was still warm? No!
I nibbled
a
it.
bite.
Yeah.
That's
come on.
what eating is. So you didn't clean your plate. That's not the question here.
I'm a respectable gentleman. Come on.
Have you guys ever heard of such a thing before? Eating the heart of the animal that you kill? I've never heard of that. I'm not from a hunting family. But
Anthony Bourdain. That's
I
it.
grew up in a
Yeah.
rural town where like a lot of kids, they missed the first day of hunting season. They didn't go to school that day. They went out hunting with their dad. I've never once heard this anecdote that, oh yeah, and the heart was delicious.
And when he did that, he looked like Stuttering John's wife after she went down on his ass. See, now that's how you craft a joke, everyone. Flawless!
The sheer arrogance of him talking to us, like, how can you conflate these two things and bring them up now? Like, how rude of you.
Right.
What does one have to do with the other? One is a time-tested hunting ritual. The other is a sexual thing that happens to turn me on.
And I'm not on trial here. Actually, you are.
My answer isn't crazy. You asking the question, that's what's crazy.
Okay, while I was eating the heart, I did have a boner, but I was also thinking about other things at the time.
Yeah, and I wasn't jerking off. Who said I was jerking off? Stop looking at me like that.
All right, you want to set up your clip number 2 out here?
Well, this is the depths that people will go to quibble over the minutia of something said in order to pretend to have missed the entire point.
There's not a part of me that gets a thrill out of the idea of actually eating someone. Like, that's absurd. Like, that's not reality. There's a thing called cuteness aggression. Do you know what cuteness aggression is?
I think what you're going to say is it's like when you see a baby with chubby cheeks and you say, I just
want to
gobble
eat
you all up. Mhm.
Yeah. Or like, oh my God, you're so cute, I just want to bite you. Like that whole thing. That's what that is.
But
and
that
I think
isn't
that
the same as inflicting pain. And this was also
well, now
released-
you're conflating two separate things because you ask me about this and then you say, well, that's not the same as inflicting
Well,
pain.
yeah, okay, no, that's fair.
Yeah, sometimes I want to eat a bitch, but that's totally different than when I beat the shit out of her during sex. They're two different things we're talking about.
He was so prepared to say that, too.
That's such a weird thing to equate that to like grabbing a little kid's cheek. That doesn't equate to anything that we're talking about with Armie Hammer.
Here's the thing, Carl. I don't have a foot fetish, right? So if somebody were to ask me to talk seriously about what people who have a foot fetish enjoy and are looking for, I wouldn't know what to say. And I certainly wouldn't correct someone when they're like, I think it's the arches. No, it's not the arches. It's like this. I'll tell you what it's like. Okay, you sound like someone who knows a lot about the topic. Tell me what it is. Oh, it's like cuteness aggression. Okay, so then you're a dangerous monster who can't control himself. Especially among children. Like, what the fuck is that kind of answer? You sound like someone very well versed on this topic.
And if you haven't heard my segment I did on the Drew Lane show a month or two ago, Armie Hammer launched his new podcast. And again, even the podcast is an effort to rehabilitate his image and to get back into the mainstream and get back into Hollywood. And his second guest ever was his mom. And we find out that his mom is this crazy Jesus freak. To such an extent, it was actually a fascinating interview because he sits down and he goes, now, Mom, I want to have a conversation with you. I want to have a cordial conversation. They don't get along at all. I want to have a cordial conversation with you. If we could just refrain from talking about Jesus at every turn, I'd really appreciate it. And I'm like, what a weird way to start an interview. And then she turned everything into Jesus. I was like, oh,
necessary.
okay, now I see what's going on.
Can we not talk about Jesus or how breastfeeding went horribly wrong?
Right.
It was the smartest thing he did, though. His mother is such a devout evangelical Christian. She can't say a sentence without mentioning Jesus.
Right.
Her son doesn't exist. Anything he does is because of Jesus, good or bad. It's all wrapped up. They have no relationship. It almost shows you why his tastes have gone so over the edge, because everything he does, his mom tells him that's the most wicked, evil thing you could ever do. So of course he feels some kind of relief by dancing around or maybe even engaging in the worst activity you could think of. So the fact that he doesn't admit it means he's dangerous, because he would say it. He would say, yeah, it turns me on, the danger. I don't need to do it. I just like pushing the envelope. Instead, we get him, quibbling over these tiny little distinctions that mean nothing to anyone just looking in.
Yeah, it's almost like the Pete Townsend, I'm just doing research thing. It's just like, I don't think so. Not a lot of people do research on CP and need to look it up, but...
Well, your face is going to be red when his project finally comes out, by the way. The Pete Townsend project that he was doing all that research for. You'll see.
Yes. I don't think that'll be available on Netflix. I'm just guessing.
Probably not.
This is the Uncle Ernie spinoff where he gets his own musical.
Hey. The next clip, by the way, Adam, that you sent me, this guy, Louis Theroux, made a YouTube short. So he thought the same thing that you thought. This was a compelling part of the podcast. And it's about how Armie just wants to put this behind him. Why are we still talking about this?
Yeah.
It's not even news anymore.
Did you have anything else you wanted to say? I should.
No, I mean, I don't love the way the interview started, just to be perfectly honest. I'm not crazy about drudging up all of this stuff, because for me, a lot of these issues have been resolved, whether it be legally or within myself. And I feel like a lot of those waters have settled. I think doing things like that stirs up the water again unnecessarily. It definitely wasn't my favorite beginning. I'm glad we moved past that and got to a place where we could have a civil, normal conversation. Like, that felt good. But drudging up all that stuff, like, I don't love it.
I hear you, and I sensed that during the chat. I think in the court of public opinion, the jury is still out.
But my thing now is, like, the court of public opinion, like, pick anything that the court of public opinion has an opinion on, and there's a very good chance that they will not be fully informed. There's a very good chance they don't have the full story, and there's also a very good chance that they're probably wrong.
So he's got it all figured out.
Yeah. All those crimes I was never convicted of.
Right.
I figured out myself how to deal with it.
I understand that you might have some questions or be confused, but this matter has been settled by myself, for myself, so why aren't we talking about getting me acting work?
Right.
This is like, Chris and I have talked about this. We have friends who are difficult to deal with and make your life more difficult.
Trucker Andy.
Result. Not Trucker Andy.
Oh, okay.
A different bass player. Different bass playing fool. But they do this thing where they go, well, you can't be mad at me because I'm mad at myself. And so it turns into this thing. It's just like, dude, why would you do something like that? It's like, dude, don't you know that I'm already mad at myself about it? Like, don't even tell me. It's like,
I already know that I fucked up.
Yeah.
Why are we talking about this?
Yeah. It's like it's our fault for bringing it up. It's like, yeah, but the problem is there's a fucking pattern. It doesn't go away is the problem. It doesn't seem like Armie is ready to move on with this lifestyle.
No, you know how I know, you know how anybody can tell I'm not into cannibalism is because I rarely talk about it, text about it, nor do I know much about it.
That's a tip on the creep off. You can't say that for Lucy Tightbox anymore.
That's true.
Well, I don't want Adam to pass judgment on another artist, but let me ask Carl and Chris, what do you think has hurt Armie Hammer more? The idea that he's sexually violent, allegedly, and possibly a cannibalist, or the Lone Ranger movie that he did? Which one has hurt him more?
Well, I haven't seen either thing, so
right. Well, I saw one of them, and I feel like the cannibalism's not so bad.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Good to know.
Well, you're right in insinuating that if the Lone Ranger went better, he wouldn't have to deal with this as much.
Yeah, if Johnny Depp didn't play an Indian, yes, absolutely.
All right, so this show that we're watching, Louis Theroux Podcast, is exclusively on Spotify, which is a little bit more difficult to grab. But I have some audio clips coming up, and this is your next clip, Adam, that you sent me, where he explains he's not here to advocate for himself.
My journey is not explaining myself. My journey is not advocating for myself. That's just not where I'm at. I mean, I get that on things like this, that stuff needs to come up, but I'm just very happy to report that that's not a part of my life anymore.
I hear you. It's tough because I get that this isn't a therapeutic space, and you don't owe me accountability, certainly not in the sense of your personal growth. But nevertheless, anytime you do an interview, I think with anyone who it takes on the burden of attempting to address the narrative as it exists in the public space now, this is what you will be going through.
Yeah, and I get it. I get it.
So he's not there to advocate for himself?
Yeah, that's why you start a podcast and then go on any podcast that'll have you.
Right. Yeah, it sounds like just the opposite of that. But if you say those words, then I guess I can't argue with you because it's not about your actions.
And when you cut someone off who's speaking very, very slowly with, I get it, it sounds like you don't get it. It sounds like you don't like hearing it at all.
Yeah, I want to get past it.
Well,
it's incredible. At some point, he cites a statistic where he says, women statistically enjoy the thrill of being raped. I don't have the source right now, but you can find it.
I mentioned the phrase CNC. It stands for consensual non-consent, and it's the enacting of a scenario in which one, in a sense, role plays a sexual assault, acts it out for fantasy purposes. So it's a safe form of sex in which you simulate rape.
Correct.
But obviously,
which, by the way, is a very common fantasy. I mean, I think that it doesn't get spoken about enough, but I think I read a stat somewhere where it said something, it's over 1/3 of women have had a fantasy similar to that. And so finding a safe way to do that, where you can find a willing and safe partner to do this with, to enact your fantasies. I mean, this is not anything unusual,
Yeah, I think I saw somewhere that like a bunch of chicks are into this thing that I'm into.
I was talking with my buddy.
So that seems, I'm probably okay, right?
Where was it? I was reading about Jews love anti-Semitism. Where was that? Like 1/3 of them, it said. Anyway, what else?
Half of them crawl into the oven without even being coerced. It's
they
crazy.
like it. They enjoy it.
They wanted it there.
It's warm.
Cold outside.
Well, I'm probably on some list now, but I did Google how many women have a rape fantasy, and it says between 31 and 57%, but that is just Google. So AI seems to think that women really want this.
All right. Well, Armie Hammer, get Google out next time.
Come on. You've got a phone, don't you?
That actually helped Armie Hammer. So he could have said 51%. It would be more compelling. And then the last clip that you have that you sent me, this is just a crazy thing for him to say.
You kind of leveraged your fame and your charisma to slightly coax people out of their comfort zone. And they were cocooned in a feeling of, okay, I might one day be Mrs. Hammer, right? Or this is going somewhere. He's serious about me. And they ended up feeling violated. Does that sound like a plausible scenario?
Does it sound plausible? Sure.
Do you think that's what happened?
I think it's very hard to put yourself in any situation and say, this is what I think happened, and really encapsulate the entire situation. Are you entitled to the opinion? Absolutely. Are there portions of that might be right? Absolutely. Is there more to the story than that? There could be. It's all up for interpretation. And I think that people are allowed to have whatever opinion they want.
He could be a
What even is
politician.
accountable? What is it?
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
We call it the C word in my home. I don't appreciate that kind of language. What a crazy thing to say. Could I be the worst person to ever exist? I mean, if you want to think that, you can. It's like, no, I'm asking you. You tell me. Don't just say like anyone could think whatever the fuck they want. Like, tell me what you think is the answer. What's the truth here? People might think I'm a cannibal and a rapist. Yeah,
Armie
are
Hammer
you?
is
Right?
Armie Hammer's the boss from Kids in the Hall Brain Candy, Don. He's like, well, would you agree that Paris is the capital of France? Yeah, great. Now we're back in agreement.
Right, yeah. It doesn't add to anything that we were talking about previously.
He's so
but okay.
comfortable talking about other people's depraved fantasies and how okay that is, but just refuses to admit his own. If this is his fantasy, I'm led to believe that there are millions of people out there that share it, and that there is actually a space where people can fantasize without necessarily practicing, like people who want to be puppies or vampires or whatever it is. Like, we can cosplay, we can pretend if it turns us on, we can play meter maid person driving the car without actually going to get jobs, in the government and working civil service. We can just play this stuff out, but he is unwilling to admit it. So it makes him seem like he has something to hide, and he's shitting on all those people that might actually have strange fetishes that would like to be included into this world.
Interesting. So that was from the Louis Theroux podcast he did recently. Well, then he just did a new episode of his podcast, and it made news. TMZ picked up on this. And he had this guest on, Danny Drews, who's an actor, producer, mental health coach, suffered through addiction and recovery.
I listened to this one.
Yeah. And he tells this tale about, what if I just played for the other team? Maybe that would fix all my problems. It's these pesky women who are releasing my text messages and saying that they don't want to be branded with my initials. They're a real problem, real pain in my ass. What if I played for the other team? So I played these clips when I was on Drew Lane's show yesterday. You can find that on their YouTube channel, Drew Lane Podcast. And I want to play them again because I'm interested in what your guys' takes is, especially after the context of what we just heard with this other interview that didn't seem to go so well as far as what he's trying to accomplish with rehabilitating his image.
I tried hooking up with a dude one time, and it was hilarious because I was like, you know what? Like, women are the worst. Like, gay dudes seem to have it so easy. Like, so easy. I'm at a restaurant, my phone blows up, and it's like Grindr, and like someone else is like, I'm at the same restaurant, do you want a blowjob in the bathroom? And you're like, hey guys, I'll be back in 5 minutes.
Yeah,
and then you get up and you go to the bathroom, you get a blowjob, and you come back and you're like, what was that? They're like, I don't know, some guy just sucked my dick. It's like, who? It's like, oh, I don't know, I didn't get his name. Anyway, what'd you order? Yeah,
totally.
Now, my thought is, man, if I need to nut that bag and to jerk off in the bathroom, I don't need a guy's mouth on my penis. But I'm a straight man, so that's how I think. What's going on here? Adam, do you have any analysis of this?
Yeah, I think he's so wrapped up in his own ego, his own attractiveness and sense of self-worth that he's doing what Kevin Spacey did, which is, I will distract from all of these horrible things I've been accused of by announcing to the gay community that I can also fuck them now. And that's going to be such big news. We're so excited that he's, dabbling in our team that we'll ignore what he's actually done and being accused of and how he's made people feel, because that's some bullshit right there. That's just some bullshit. Everything he said, I'm just going to have to assume that's not how that goes at all. I've never dabbled in foot fetish because it doesn't interest me, and I'm not going to explore it for my own. Come on, man. Come on.
Christian, you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, I think that he had that really specific example. So, yes, I do believe that he's at least considered dabbling like that. And, Carl, you asked the question, why wouldn't I just jerk off? Because then you don't get to question your sexuality for the rest of your life. Was it gay because I had a guy blow me? And the answer is yes, it is. But I couldn't agree more with Adam. And, in fact, I was starting to notice the similarity to Kevin Spacey saying, I am a gay American. And so he's saying, like, I'm not a cannibalistic American. What if I'm gay? Is that okay? He's like putting his toe, speaking of foot fetish, he's putting his toe in the water. He's like, maybe? How do we feel about this?
And asking these communities for help, being like, can you help me out here? Because I don't know what to do. I need some allies really fast.
I'm just a poor little minority. You guys are picking on the poor little minority over here who grew up in the Hammer family and starred in all these blockbuster movies.
And Man from U.N.C.L.E.
He talks about doing a lot of drugs and having he blames everything he's ever done that people don't like on being fucked up. Mm-hmm. He can't make his gay story like that. He can't make it something believable, like we were, and then this person. No, it has to be this sober, deliberate decision. I signed up, made a profile for, answered questions, talked to people, all not knowing anything about it or whether I would even like it. Could you imagine going that distance for like a meal you don't know you would like? You wouldn't even order it.
Right. So it goes further than that.
So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give this a try.
Yeah, fuck it.
Like maybe this actually works for me. Let's give it a try. And I remember I met this dude, handsome, French, you know, the whole thing.
Sure, the whole thing.
I was like, okay, this could work. This could work. Let's try this. I remember I started making out with him, and I just remember being like, God, beards. Like, oh, I get why women like it when you shave. Like, this thing is fucking rough. Like, how do I get in there?
Totally.
And I remember I put my arms around him, and I was like, oh my God, and these shoulders are so wide. He's so big. Like, he's almost my height. Like, this is so strange. And it did physically for me, absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
Like, didn't, like, not even a twitch.
Yeah.
What's so odd about this to me is I don't need to experiment with that to know that I wouldn't enjoy it. Yeah. It's never crossed my mind, and I'm like, man, maybe it would be super hot if me and a guy started making out. It's like, as a straight guy, you know that that's not going to work.
Right. What did you think was going to happen?
So this seems so far-fetched to me that it'd be like, you know, I decided, like, why not make out with this hot French guy? First off, what makes him hot? That's my first question.
Right. Yeah, he's the French. And we're supposed to believe that. It's such a weird detail that sounds like bullshit that he added in there. French. Oh, yeah. The handsome Frenchman. Okay.
Yeah, so you're not buying this story, Adam?
No, none of it.
So Armie Hammer might not have been into that experience, but as he was talking about it, I came. So I don't know what that means.
All right. Well, I don't know what that means either, Christian. Are you in trouble for something that we should know about?
I might be.
Okay, shit. This is the last clip I have on here because this is where I think he was doing this for attention. I think part of this is get some headlines for his podcast. Whoa, what's Armie Hammer talking about? Gay experiences? Oh, I got to tune into this.
Well, if I may, real quick,
Please.
just this entire interview with Danny What's-Her-Lips.
Drew's, yeah.
Trying to outdo each other. So when you say attention.
She's insufferable.
Oh, yeah. And he's not going to be outdone, so.
She's one of these bitches who she's been in all the rehabs and everyone has to listen to her and she knows everything about life. And it's like, shut up.
Oh,
shut up.
Yeah. And she's a self-help coach or whatever the fuck. Yeah, of course she is.
Yep.
And yet she's wearing a bathrobe in public.
Just like a politician or just like somebody that's on trial, they know every second they're not talking about cannibalism is a win for Armie. So rather they talk about this than anything else, because this is actually, he's so low, this is winning for him right now.
It's another win for the Hammer.
Good point.
All right, so this is the last clip, and this is where I started to think like, oh, this is bullshit.
And then I remember like we were like making out and it was kind of like getting hotter and heavier, but I was like going through the motions and like not feeling anything. And then he like reached for my dick and I was like, you're not going to touch my flaccid penis. Like this is not going to happen. I'm sorry. And I was like, you know what? I got to stop us here. And he's like, no. And I was like, yeah.
This is like no, I mean, women are beautiful, so like whatever. But like, if I never slept with another woman again, or I slept with 20, it makes no difference to me.
Fair enough.
That's what I found so annoying about Danny is Armie Hammer's talking about a guy reaching for his cock and what's he gonna do, and she's just like, yeah. Anyway, so about me again. Like, oh, that's not the point of this conversation at all. Actually,
there's only one word of his story I don't believe, and that word is flaccid.
that makes sense. The point I made on Drew's show yesterday when we talked about this is if you're going to have a gay experience, I have no experience with this, but I would assume the making out portion is really fucking weird and you'd want to get right to the penises and mouths or in a hand or something portion of it. That would be the thing that, you know, if you want to get off. You're not falling in love, right? I
hope not.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's not like you just want to have like you want to go on a few dates first.
Yeah, that could ruin everything.
What's been proven is that Armie has no regard or respect for any of the women that he's dated or had relationships with. I'm supposed to believe that the feelings he cared about were the French gay man he was not attracted to. That's where suddenly he's showing some restraint. And I must excuse myself. This is not for me. Because, you know, he cared so much about his feelings.
So I guess to sum up Adam's thoughts about this whole thing, it's
bullshit.
Okay.
Yeah. Just admit you like cannibalism and move on. Maybe you'll have a career and maybe some other people will come out of the class with
you. You want
delicious.
You want to eat an attractive girl. I don't, but what, you know, whatever. You haven't done it yet, right? You haven't eaten any chick's heart yet? Just the The deer you
No,
shot?
I didn't eat it. I took a bite of it in a ceremony.
To show I was a man.
And it had been on ice for hours. It was chilled. It wasn't hot. That'd be weird.
He should just have Andrew Tate on his podcast because then no one's going to pay any attention to what Armie Hammer said for the entire hour.
That's not a bad idea, actually. I want to thank people who are supporting the show. Thanks to everyone for being here for these shows we're doing on Wednesdays. Chris, Adam, and myself, 5:30 Eastern. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being here. And thank you so much for the...
Yay, super chats.
Like, big fan, $2 asked if Stuttering John was the main act. He was. He was the headliner of that show. And John's Gippy Halloween Hand says, 90% sure I'm going to the Ohio show. You should go. All right.
There.
Is that going to happen? What's the date of that show?
Who cares? Let's just do it. Just do it.
My calendar is getting very full right now.
I'm aware of that.
Turd Ferguson says, am I the only one who wants to see a Dan Alexander face swap on this conversation? Love the show. Great job, Carl. Skol! You're not the only one. We just didn't think of it. It's a good idea. And John's Gibby Halloween Hand says, he's Patrick Bateman levels of dangerous. That's what people think. That's why he's not doing so well. All right, Christian, I'll let you get out of here, buddy.
Well, yeah, and I actually just shared a little screen there for you, so you can put that up, and everyone will know when Stuttering John and Friends is happening in Ohio. It's the end of March. Apparently, tickets are available, Carl.
March 28th and 29th, $25. VIP seating is $30.
That's worth it.
That is the sneeze zone right there. No, thank you.
They make you wear a raincoat like when people used to go see Gallagher back in the day.
I just bring an umbrella.
First two rows may get boogers.
Oh, boy.
Well, anyway, thank you for having me. Thank you for letting me celebrate episode 601 and all my adventures with Frenchie. It was a great time, and everybody check out Who Are These Broadcasters, Tuesdays, 2 p.m. on this very channel. Yesterday's episode was a lot of fun with my pal Zia from the old Chip Chipperson podcast, so people check that out.
Yeah, you and Zia were great. Tune in at 2 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays, or you can watch it anytime after. It's on the live tab on our YouTube page. People are enjoying Who Are These Broadcasters, you and Eric Zane, when he's not cleaning up dog pee. You guys are killing me over there. Eric Zane tried to call me the next morning after we made him cringe of the week, but I was on the airplane, so I was not able to chat with him. Every time he calls me, I know it's to be on his show.
He's only he calls me. Yeah, he's only ever called me once, and it was to be on his show.
Yeah,
the time he slept through our show, he just texted me, "Oh man, I'm sorry." He didn't even call me. So yeah,
forgot about that.
I haven't forgotten. Eric and his Tane will be back next Tuesday though, so I can't.
No more Tane.
No more
from
Tane.
Eric.
You're right.
That's enough of that.
Great to see you, Adam, Carl, Chris. Talk to everybody soon.
All right.
Thanks, Christian.
All right.
Good to see you, buddy. Bye. Let me bring up Annie, our review girl. What's up, Annie?
Oh, hello. Good to see you all.
Good to see you too. Annie, you're here just in time for our
Can you tell me what the segment's about?
Yes, this is the portion of the show. Everyone loves this. This is the best part of the show, where we talk about the podcast that we'll be reviewing on the next episode of Who Are These Podcasts, in order to get people excited about the next episode. Because this episode is winding to a close. And thank God, we're almost 3 hours in. So people want to know, but should I tune in for the next? I enjoyed this episode, but should I tune in for the next episode? And the answer is yes. And I'll tell you why. Trucker Andy will be back with us this Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern. If you're on our Patreon, if you're a YouTube member, you'll get the link to that to watch it live. Of course, we put all of these out as podcast episodes on Thursdays for our Wednesday show and Sundays for our Saturday show, but whatever. The point is, we are going to be reviewing a podcast called Master the Allegations Against Neil Gaiman. This is something that Andy has been studying and following pretty closely. And Neil Gaiman is an author, very famous author, and there's a lot of allegations about what he's been up to, a very Armie Hammer-esque allegations. But the accusers, I'm not so sure about. This podcast gets those accusers on the show to talk about it. and we hear Neil Gaiman defend himself. So we'll be checking into all of that. It's actually pretty interesting. We were on vacation last week. I said I wouldn't talk about my vacation. I'm not.
Please don't.
When I was on vacation last week with Trucker Andy, we were talking about this quite a bit. And I'm very interested to explore this realm. Adam, do you know anything about this?
Oh, I'm fascinated by Neil Gaiman and Amanda Palmer, and especially seeing how he wrote The Sandman, and so much of this stuff is in there. His obsession with Tori Amos, and how Tori Amos is like a character in the thing, but he married a different redhead. And again, all the crimes are like not necessarily, you don't quite know, it's just not good. And when people have the money to just spend on making this stuff go away, it creates big vacuums where we want to know what's happening. And again, it sounds like another situation where whether they're guilty of what they've been accused of, clearly there's something to apologize for, and they should probably own it for everybody's sake instead of just attacking the victims and hoping it goes away.
So join us Saturday with Adam Bush.
Yeah, I know, right?
No,
We'll
I won't
get
be
him
there.
out of here.
Everybody needs a
Talk
break.
about this. No, that is spot on. Like, the conversation I was having with Andy, he's paying people off, and it seems like what you would do if you were guilty of what he's being accused of. But he also has explanations for it, and there's some weird things with what the accusers are saying, and then you look at the text message threads, and that doesn't really add up. So it all gets very
tough.
murky. It's tough.
Wait,
But
did you discuss this beforehand?
not the podcast.
Okay.
Just the subject
You
matter.
got off on a technicality.
I did. Deep Service $2 says Simcast is less feminine than this panel. All right, producer Chris, get out of here. You're screwing this up for all of us. And do we have any new reviews that you'd like to read for us as our review girl?
I have 2 for us this week.
Excellent. And what we do on the review segment, I tell people to please give us a 5-star review and then shit all over us in the comment section. I think Apple Podcasts is still the most popular, but there are other sites to do that. Annie tracks them down, and then she reads them. We try to figure out what number of stars we were given for each review.
The first one comes in February 24th from Carlson from Flint. I'm very triggered. I'm pretty sure after listening to this show, my ears now have AIDS. I'm about to take my headphones and smash them. Daddy, I miss you.
Adam, do you have a thought on what that star review is? I always
That's a
guess.
5-star review right there.
I think it's a 5-star. That's actually a badge
it's a
of honor
5-star.
right there. If I can give someone's ears AIDS. We're making new shirts.
Now, the second one comes in from Tijuana's Only Bible Man. Basically, another music special. Hellfire is too good for the people who make We Didn't Start the Fire parodies.
Okay. Didn't enjoy the song parody segment, but I'm going to say that is a 5-star review.
That is a 5-star review.
Yeah.
They're lying. Everybody loves the music episode.
The music episode rules, of course.
And it was a while ago, so if you're aware of it, you are a fan.
That's a good point. But also, the song parody that the Bag Slappers put together was fantastic.
It was.
So we all know that that's the case. I have some voicemails to go through.
But
Andy, you got a
before
few minutes to hang out?
Of course, I'm always happy to stay around. As long as I can, anyway.
Awesome. Pony Power 2 sent this in the mail to us, and I'm very excited about it. We were out of town, so we didn't check our mailbox for a minute. But he's the guy who does all the 3D prints, a lot of things that have gone inside Lucy Typebox. Also, the Dabby Award that was handed out to DabbleCon 2, all the Dabby Awards. Well, he has made these ornaments. You put a light inside them, and they light up. And I have a Who Are These Podcast logo ornament, which is fantastic. There is a Creep Off ornament. Well done. And then you weren't expecting this. Once Over with Kaylee gets her own ornament. I'll sell that to her.
Does that mean you have to do a mini Christmas tree for next year?
Sure. I'll do that. And then an All Apologies ornament for Trucker Andy and Joe 6-pack.
Deep cut.
Fantastic. And then this is, holy shit. I got to take a photo of this and text it to my buddy Nick Ricada. Because this is a Baldo. with Nick Rekieta's face on it. Nick's got his own ball down. It says Rekieta on the back. So I don't know exactly how these work. I think you put your balls in there, and then this goes in the wet part, right?
I don't get it.
Well, will you try it out though?
All right.
Pony Power 2 sent me a preview of that before he sent it into you, and I want to just say that's way more horrifying than I could have ever expected.
It's squishy.
Yeah.
It's weird.
I like how his name's on it in case he brings it to school.
Hey, that's my Baldo. Give me that.
Get that away from me.
And just for context, that's how people who don't know how a sexual device works act. If they didn't know about it, they wouldn't be correcting Annie and showing the exact way and making delineations between other things. Yeah.
Good point.
I hate it.
I'm not a fan myself. All right, let's hit some voicemails. Thanks to Pony Power 2. You do great work, my friend. We appreciate you.
Hey, Carl. My name is
Okay, that one didn't go well. I wasn't sure what to call himself.
But it was the perfect length.
It was a good length. He did not call back, so that was it. That was the one chance at that.
All right, 45 seconds, real quick. Catching up on episodes. Loved Rock Lobster.
Close enough.
Saves Top Lobster. Also, I just want to point out, if you're trying to get your call under 45 seconds, never acknowledge the time. You're
Shave some time
You're
off
just
it.
adding more time to it. Carl, I'm going to try to make this quick, okay? You want this to be quick, right?
Yeah.
Try to make this quick?
Was it 45
Let me get
seconds?
right to the point. I'm going to get right to the point because I know that you like people to stop beating around.
May not agree with him broadly, but I think the dude brings a really cool aspect to the show. But also, real quick, the end loop that his co-host was talking about, I got caught with one of those at a gas station recently where a guy thought I parked too close to his car while I was getting gas and proceeded to call me a F-slur repeatedly. And then when I told him, you back up, I'm not moving my car, I'm getting gas, got back in his car and started yelling, stupid motherfucker, stupid motherfucker, stupid motherfucker, stupid motherfucker. It's like constantly in his car, and I just kept pumping my gas. It was kind of funny because I'm not exactly a small guy. I'm 6'5" and about 270, 275, so I just kind of laughed at him and kept pumping my gas, and he was just making a scene.
Sound like Armie Hammer's type.
Anyways, just thought it was funny. I never heard of that term before. Thought it was pretty spot on with the situation I dealt with. Anyways, I guess Chris, you rock.
Thank you.
And I guess hopefully I made it in 45 seconds. All right,
You did it! It's way too long.
Oh, he thinks it's a minimum of 45 seconds.
No, it's not the minimum. It's the maximum. Son of a bitch.
Stupid motherfucker.
And loops are a fascinating concept, though.
I had never heard of such a thing, and now I'm starting to realize it's a real thing.
Oh, I forgot to say this was Jason from Atlanta, and Chris, you rock. I forgot to say, Carl, you fucking suck. Talk to you guys later.
Jesus, I played your fucking too long voicemail, and I still don't. Thanks, Jason in Atlanta. Thanks a lot. You know, everyone who says I'm so-and-so from somewhere, they all want to be Gary in San Diego.
Hey, Carl. It's February 28th. The big night where Stuttering John makes his one-man show new appearance at the Boca Black Box. According to the ticket sales, he's doing pretty good for Friday night, and I think the audience is anticipating a fresh new show. All new material. He's been working on it now for up to 3 years. 5 jokes a day. He's been honing those jokes so they're letter perfect. Oh, that show is going to be fantastic. I hope somebody tapes it so we can hear it on, maybe you could recap it on your new show when you come back in a week or so.
We did it.
Let's hope so. Anyway, that's it from San Diego. Rock and rolla.
Rock and roll.
scary. 45 seconds. So much extra nonsense in there.
Actually, Carl, in the 600th, when you said you've never called anybody back, one of your early episodes after you set up a voicemail, you did in fact call somebody back. I don't remember what episode it is because I may be autistic, but I'm not that autistic. Somebody else can call and let you know. But you definitely called somebody back at one point. You don't have to call me back. I don't need to hear you much that much.
I don't think I said I'd never call anyone back. I remember calling that guy back, and he answered his phone and the whole thing. But people used to always say, call me back. For some reason on the voicemail. Dang Lizard 2 Euro says, you talked to Gaiman with Trucker Andy on your vacation? All right. That's enough. I get it. Dang Lizard is always lurking. Always ready to pounce. Got to be careful with them.
Carl, it's the affiliates. You better not be fucking going long this time, all right? If you go long again, I'm going to fuck you in the ass. I know you'll like it, you little queer, you little stripy head freak, you little crooked leg, little fuck with the little fucking bean teeth. All right, go fuck yourself. Oh, yeah, and DabbleCon 2, I think, or 3? I don't know. Fuck you.
The affiliates are mean.
That's our best promo yet.
Jesus Christ, those fucking affiliates. DabbleCon.live. Go get your tickets. April 11th and 12th. Is that what I said?
Yes.
We'll be streaming the Kate Meany Tapes Part 2. I did not promote that enough during the show today. Oops. I'll do it next time. I promise.
I think he did.
Oh, okay.
Carl, KFC here. Happy 600. You now are 600 episodes in of your volunteer podcast that nobody listens to.
True.
You have reached the ranks of Patrick Michael, Stuttering John, Opie, Tom Myers, and Shuley. We still love you. And luckily for you, you have producer Chris and everybody else around you. Also, Acamania.com. Promo code Lucy, big, juicy, round tits on Patreon. Thank you. Call me back. Lucy, call me.
Jubes.
All right. Alexa, order KY. Patreon, pull up Lucy. Oh, shit.
Oh, busted. Can I tell you a fun anecdote real quick? So I get these reports on websites that I own from Google that tells me what the search queries in that people put in that either gets clicks to our site or we show up in the results for it. So for Who Are These Podcasts, we show up for Who Are These Podcasts, WATP, Carl WATP, all these different things. For the isotopes.com, we show up for Lucy Tightbox's age.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That was a new one. I mean, I was just like, we don't post that on our band's website, but we show up for it.
She'd be so pissed if everyone knew she was 47.
So don't tell them.
Yeah.
And cut that part out. She's not 47.
Hey, Carl, this is Al Swearingen. I'm just calling to give producer Chris some serious props on his Stuttering John impression. We all love the guy, perfect clips during the shows, but he, not enough attention is called to Stuttering John impression. And in particular, when Stuttering John starts fucking around on a show and not knowing what to do, and, producer Chris starts mocking him, going, and just, the general, it's perfect when he chimes in with those. So anyway, I love you, producer Chris. Fuck you and your weird gay feet, Carl. All right, this is Al Swearingen. Call me back.
All right, Al Swearingen. Thank you. Annie had to leave. Insanity.com, I believe is her website. Sorry, I didn't promote that before she took off. Adam just got up and left. Oh. He'll be back, though. He just had to tend to something, it looks like. Boner Guy's got some thoughts on what's going on with our friend Vic, our first ever review girl.
Go Bills. I took a holiday, so I even gave you guys a few weeks break from my nonsense, but I'm back, worse than ever. I really had to call in about the Vic situation. That haircut, I mean, don't get me wrong, I appreciate the Instagram updates. That haircut is clearly a call for help. I don't know what we do about it, something seriously wrong, guys. Either that, or she's well into her lesbian phase. Hopefully it's the latter.
Right.
Other thing, Opie, it's fascinating to learn that he squints his eyes because he's trying to read the chat and refuses to wear glasses because, you wouldn't want to look stupid, would you? Much better to look like some dusty old Chinese ball bag than just wear a pair of glasses so you can fucking see, imbecile. Other than that, everyone should vote for Carl at thecreepoff.com,
Yes.
even though he doesn't do his consequences and consistently picks the weaker creep. Thank you.
Boner guy, who said are you fucking on all of a sudden? What's going on here?
And he did shave his chest or wax it. Or
I did. My chest has been waxed. We showed that. And the next thing I have to do is watch The Joker 2 3 times in a row.
Oof.
There's a very funny joke during the Academy Awards. I think it was Conan O'Brien. No, you know what? It was a firefighter that was up on the stage, I think, who goes, I'm sorry for all the people who lost their homes. And of course, I'm talking about the producers of Joker 2. It was a very funny line. I'm sure it hit close to home, but it got a good reaction from people. If you haven't seen Vic, if you go to her Instagram, I think it's Victurdia is her Instagram handle. And she did post recently, she's over in France or something, I don't know. And her haircut, oof. It looks like she lost a bet. Adam's seen it. Adam knows.
I assumed it was some kind of military grade thing she had to do.
Yeah. The military tries to humiliate you. Yes, they do. Okay.
Yeah, I'm in.
Monday's calling in.
Hey, Kyle, it's Mondays. Just want to congratulate you on the episode 600. Looking forward to seeing it, yeah? The show's been doing good. We all bust your balls over butt. Wait, what? No, we took the break because she was getting ready for episode 600. It was last week. Fuck!
No, Monday's missed it. Well, whatever. You got it on 601. It's all good. Thanks for being here.
No Saturday show, Carl? I'm a federal employee. What am I supposed to jerk off to at work? The creep off? The creep off? I do that already. I'm not poor. I'm not going to jerk off to reruns. God damn it. Well, I hope you got a hidden job on your day off or something. All right, chill.
Hey, it's with Andy. Yeah. And this would have been the week to jerk off to the creep off.
Yes, I agree with that. One more voicemail for us, and this is referring to the end of our episode, on episode 600, Adam.
Uh-oh.
Hey, Adam. Sorry about your loss. But I do want to say it was very funny, for me, at least, when Carl's fucking bitch ass goes, yeah, Adam, we really should have talked about her sooner, earlier in the show. Thanks for the membership. See you, guy. Why the fuck are you talking about memberships right now? Fuck that random fucking listener. Talk about Michelle Trachtenberg, dude. Ruining the moment, dude. You're like that fucking MLB announcer. Well, Michelle Trachtenberg has died, 39, too young, and Castellanos hits a grand slam. Fuck you, hamburger. Call me back.
That wasn't my best moment.
It wasn't my best moment. I don't think that can be on you. I think it's on me for bringing that up at that point.
It was definitely not the right place or time in that moment. But we were celebrating 600 episodes. I was delirious at that point. We
can get serious here on WATP. We can share and get real serious sometimes. It makes the level.
All right, let's get let's get that asshole out of here.
No, they kicked me up. I was talking to Chad and Polka Dave.
Could you imagine if that dude's daughter just walks in and climbs up on Adam's lap like, you guys are all in the same place? What the fuck?
Just like Chad's apartment, didn't it?
It did kind of. Oh, this has all been a whole big ruse this whole fucking time. Whew. Oh boy, this has been another fun episode, Adam.
I'm having
Great
a blast.
job, buddy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You too.
It's been so fun.
I gotta go. Bye. I gotta go. I gotta go. I gotta go. I gotta go.
Okay, bye.
Wrap it up.
You're one of the biggest hacks I know.